We are now officially live. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I know I sound a little bit crazy today. Getting over, I told you guys this last year. Once a year, it always gets me. It creeps up at the weirdest times, usually at the beginning of the year, coming into spring, but that tends to be common with people. So my voice is a little off. But some people, it makes me, tells me it makes me sound cooler. I don't know about you, but we'll see. That being said, love you guys. Really excited for what we have today. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. I mean, we're obviously here with the legendary Sonus and Nemo. They're crushing it here with Sleazy, holding it down every single day at home base, bringing you guys some fire content, whether it be D&D or a whole bunch of other cool stuff that he's been cooking in the lab. That being said, we're going to get started a little bit and we'll talk about the rest of the details soon. What is going on, guys? So, once again, like I said, happy Monday. Today, we're going to be talking about everything that's going on with the crypto market. We're going to be talking about the XAI acquisition of X, which was just, to put it as Gum said, a 200 IQ move. And I could not agree more. That is the talk of the town. Pretty wild. We got a dope intro D&D. We're going to do like a short D&D today that Sleazy's got cooked for us, which I'm really excited about. All that and more. Before we kind of like jump into that, bear with me, guys. As I said, a little bit out of whack today, but I'm going to push through. How you doing, Gum? What's going on, my brother?
Doing well. So yeah, the acquisition with XAI and X. I mean, like I said, it's a 200 IQ move. It's to the point now where the valuation of, X and Grok and several other things are just going up just due to that in itself.
Ridiculous. And ridiculous how much it did go up. It wasn't just a little bit, it was like an astronomical amount. And I'm like, when you're going by like, a couple million, a billion, okay, this like jumped like from like 30x. You got to think about it. It was $30 billion valued, a little under what he bought it at 44 at 33 billion. But then what ended up happening is with XAI's acquisition, XAI's valuation went up to about 80 or 90 billion.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's a nutty power move, man.
And that was the thing. I remember a lot of people were kind of memeing on him when he bought X for the longest time. Oh, you bought it at such a valuation, and it's like, oh, like now he's pointing the fingers back at him, right? So,
and that's what he tends to do, man. Like as much as like some people want to hate him or say he's a whack job or a weirdo. I think sometimes the world needs somebody to hate. Like I'm a big advocate of that. You're always there's an old saying I love where it's like you're always the bad guy in someone's story. And the reality is that's just a part of life. That being said, Coin Gillen, we'll talk about that in more detail a little bit later as well. What's going on, Coin Gillen?
Hi, thanks for inviting and for what's going on, this growth things and crushing the market and trying to heal up. So these are the circumstances where I am currently. Like I don't know how wounded I am, but I'm just trying to be okay and sounds okay. And then also in this show also you will be hearing me as very cool and relaxed, but I'm not. Yeah. So this is what it is going on.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry to hear. Listen, don't feel bad. Our bags, everyone's bags have been crushed, but fear not. This is just, there's always a calm before, storm. You know what I mean? You know the whole saying and how it goes. This is just the part you got to go through first to get to the good stuff. But once again, you know what I mean? It's a hodl type of thing. Just give it some time. What goes down goes up. Likewise. Sleazy, how's everything going with you, my brother?
Yeah, doing great. We are having, well, if you've been part of Posse, we've been very active in Discord for understandable reasons that everyone already knows about. And yeah, it's been quite great. On the disease part, yeah, I got over mine like a bit over a week ago in a couple of days, but it's like this phase where I'm healthy, but if I do something strange, or if I like spend too much time on cold, I'm gonna get sick again. Like my body's letting me know. If I'm not careful, I'll get sick again. So yeah, that's kind of the situation there.
No, I feel you on that. Trust me. There's a lot of times where personally, I don't know about you, but it happens to me out of nowhere. So,
I find it's when the weather changes so fast.
I think
It'll
it
be
is.
warm for a few days, and it gets cold, and then that's how you can get sick. Like
That's
myself,
how
even.
exactly. Oh, you're sick too. Yeah, I did. I do remember you told me. You know what it is? I think the weather changes one, you're right. I think for some people that have like allergies and stuff like that, that's another one. I don't have allergies, but I went like yesterday by me, it was like 83 degrees, I think. And I brought my little man to the skate park because, fun fact, I love skating. So like I still do, even from younger to older, dropping a half pipe, whatever it is. It's just one of the hobbies I still have. And he finally started learning. And it's crazy after 4 days, man. Like when you dedicate your time to something, it's amazing how fast. And it goes for anything. It could be anything in life. It could be even trading in Web3 and whatever it is that you indulge in. But when you apply yourself, even in the smallest ways, and you're consistent, like the results, like people think it takes like, a genius to do a particular thing. No, it just takes experience. You just have to do that one thing over and over again and be relentlessly passionate about it. And the results tend to show up. You know what I mean? They just come for themselves.
Absolutely. I think that's one thing people don't realize. Like, consistency is what breeds excellence, right? Especially when it
Mhm.
comes down to situations like these, the market, whatever comes down to. It's like, I will say these are the best times to build. And people say the words overnight success. It's not so much that, it's you're just working so hard at it that you just wake up one morning and realize, wow, I didn't expect it to be like this.
Yeah. No,
But
I
there's always
love
room
what
for
you
growth.
my favorite part, exactly. My favorite part of what you said is the overnight thing. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of the companies and the people in the trenches, they've been grinding there for years. So it's like, don't get me wrong, because this industry tends, this particular demographic of working in blockchain tends to be a little bit newer. The reality is there's still a lot of people that have been here for over a decade. Like I think back on the time spent here, like, if you think about the launch of Bitcoin 2008 era, I think about when Ethereum launched and I jumped in 14. And then I think about now, like yesterday, I was having a conversation with a friend and he's like, bro, do you realize it's actually the person that got me into crypto all them years ago? And he's like, do you realize it's been 11 fucking years? And I was like, no way. He's like, yo, it's been 11 years. And it's like, that is wild. When I
Yeah,
think about
time
that,
flies by way too much. Yeah.
holy snap. So I think it's one of those things where you're right. A lot of these companies, even ones that are, whether they be well known or not, they grind. Like, for example, speaking of Epic Games and gaming, they didn't get big. I found something out that blew my mind. So Epic Games started in like the 90s.
Yep.
Uh,
They're like the OGs. Yep.
they're
Wow.
OGs, and I never knew that because they didn't blow up at all until really like Fortnite, Unreal Engine
Exactly.
started getting bigger again. And it's like to know that
It was like
company,
what, 5 years ago?
it's fucking crazy. And
Yeah.
there's a
Like,
30
lot of them.
years.
it's
Like
about six.
actually 30 years.
Yes, older
It's
than
funny.
me almost.
I mean, I don't want to divert too much, but it's funny because
No,
I
go,
remember
go, please.
when Fortnite launched, actually, it was a paid game. I remember I paid $30 for it, and like it
Yeah,
only had a campaign, but they
yeah.
completely revamped the game and it was free.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
called
That
go
was a
ahead.
genius power move, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
like
go ahead,
it's
Stacey.
it's called Fortnite because it was the original game was to survive against zombies in a fortnight, like so, like in 2 weeks. That's why
Exactly.
it was
That,
called Fortnite.
exactly.
But
And,
now it's not even part of the game anymore.
and then I got people building skyscrapers, and I don't know. It was
Bro,
free. It was never
I'm
far,
a
but
gamer, and I listen, I'm pretty good when it comes to stuff like Call of Duty, Fortnite. Like I could build with the best of them. But man, some of these fucking 12-year-olds, man, I watch these videos, man, of like their keyboard skills, and it's like their like, bro. And once again, I'm pretty fast. If you jump in with me one day, I always game with the community. Like I can build up a pretty good setup pretty fast. If somebody starts, popping at me, I'm at the top of I'm at the top pretty quick. But man,
Really Eiffel Tower.
these kids, bro, it's nutty. It shits on me every single time. And like listen, I used to be like, what the hell is the secret here? Maybe it's just when you're younger, it's dexterity. I don't know.
It is. It is. It's when you're younger. Like you
like-
said, dexterity, and then at the same time, like I don't want to say it, but they're playing so much that you might even be risking RSI because
Yeah.
you're playing that fast, right? So
I mean, honestly, that's not even like. So there's one particular example that I know of. It's if you've heard of the game Marvel Rivals.
Of course.
So
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
this one character, Spider-Man, who is like the most mechanically demanding character ever designed. Because he has to like jump around and actually aim from the sky while he's doing all of this web swinging. So they're like guys like for professional esporters. They're like 28, 27 years old
Yeah.
who are competing. That's and doing Twitch stream. Like that's their full-time job.
Yeah.
And then comes like a 12-year-old who comes up on Spider-Man. He doesn't even
Swinging
do
at
a
a
full
Nord.
day. He's literally just a kid who's going to school, and his free time he's spending time on Marvel Rivals.
what it
and
is?
He's beating them in mechanical skill.
You know
He's
what it
literally
is?
better than the esporters who have been in the industry way before Marvel Rivals even got into
Yeah.
into the scene.
Gum said it best. Is exactly what it is. You know what? When you're younger, right? And this is really what it is. I'm convinced. Like the older I get, 35 now, like there is nothing. When I went to the park yesterday, I beat the shit out of myself. So if I show you my legs, like I literally beat the living shit out of myself. Cut myself a million times. It felt. Here's the crazy thing. I don't know. Maybe because I try to stay in shape and stuff. It felt good. Like it actually felt good. Yeah, I was a little sore for a day, but I don't know about anybody else. I think it really depends, on how you live your life, how you take care of
Exactly.
yourself. But I think 90% of everything, and I'm a big advocate of this. Sleazy knows I say this all the time. 90% of everything in life is a mental game. It's less physical than you think. And the reality is when you're older, you have responsibilities. And the two major reasons why you don't see a lot of, like, let's say maybe sometimes older, one, because our generation is the first generation, the digital generation where you're going to have older nomads, right? Like you're going to have people 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s and 70s
Yeah.
like that are going to be gamers. Like, don't get me wrong. You didn't see that in the past because it just didn't exist and it wasn't popular because youth sells, right? When companies are making money, they sell on the youth, they sell on the next generation. But mark my words, you're going to see a lot of cool ass. You're starting to see it now. A lot of older people that are getting well known in the gaming community. Kids, the reason why they're able, like, and younger kids are able to be so good is because they don't have responsibilities. They can dedicate 24 hours a day to relentlessly gaming when they come home from school. So it's like it's hard to compete when all you do for a living.
Yeah, the issue here is that people who do dedicate 24 hours a day, the professional esporters who stream on Twitch for a living, they are sometimes worse than those kids.
You know what? But we have bad habits too, though, man. When you get older, you do all types of kids. Kids don't have alcohol
No,
yet.
I'm
They're
talking about like 25,
Exactly,
26
yeah.
year olds.
You don't have to,
esporters.
you don't have to wake up and drink a coffee and have caffeine right away.
Well, it is pretty wild. It is pretty wild. I
Like,
guess it's
esporters
just,
are rarely over 30 years old because they lose I don't know what, but they sort of lose the reflexes, required to actually compete.
people say that. And listen, you might be right. There could be a valid argument there. But I've been the one person for years calling BS on that. I really do think it has a lot to do with passion, relentlessness, because like what you see even on stream, like Ninja, there's a lot of guys where we'll be like, listen, at one point Ninja was like, top in the game. And then he got shit on by so many others that came in. Aiden, there's a bunch of others that came in just like wrecking the scene. And you know what it is, man? I think it's like people have good days, bad days. You catch the good clips, you catch the bad clips. Like I think it's just the market shifts. Like, you know what I mean? If you put them in a 101 heads up, I don't know, man. I watch some of those live streams I follow a lot of the big streamers. I still know a couple of older ones that will wreck somebody's shit. Like even Call of Duty, if you jump in with like Tim the Tap Man, any of those guys, like they still wreck. So I think it's just you either had a good game or you didn't, because experience matters in gaming a lot more than people realize. When you're working a map, like here's how professional gamers work. They don't just look at, playing the game and dexterity. They look at positioning. And that's what makes people true geniuses. Like they know where they're at in a map. They know, you know what I mean, where the spawns are. Like there's
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
much
And
more
they know
to
they know how fast people are going to move from one spot to another. It's
exactly.
programmed in their mind within 5 seconds. This person will pass a building.
And it's second nature. That being said, I don't know if you're a gamer. CoinGoon, do you game at all? Did you ever play anything?
Yes, I am very passionate of gaming, and I am very fond of playing games and all. But
Okay. Do you have a particular one that you like?
like some mobile gamings that I very much fond of,
Big
like
scene.
Battlegrounds, if you have heard of.
Yes. Yeah.
Like yeah,
Absolutely.
because I'm a camper out there, you know. I just creep. I just scroll in the grasses or something like that. I mean, like the best part of best part of such
I
kind of
love how you
streams.
own that though. I loved how you own that because you were the guy that I fucking absolutely hated. I would be out there running around and you would just blow my head off when I
you,
least expected it.
you, like like as Sleazy was mentioning that being pretty young to play certain kind of games or like so when I was pretty young, like when I was like around 15, 16, 18, like so at that instant I had something to express with my friends, like I went out to playgrounds and play cricket and basketball or something like that. So at
Yeah.
that time I was pretty young and I was expressive, and that was something very joyful that I was liking in my whole day, that yeah, when 4:30 p.m. will be there, I'll be heading to the ground, and if
Yeah.
rain comes down, then we all abuse God and or something like that, that why rain happened today, we are not able to play or something like that.
There's always something to
But
look forward
after
to in that
graduation
sense.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, after graduation and all, when we came here for the professional life and all, we don't get that particular environment where we can express ourselves with our friend or something like that. But in battleground, basically I feel like yeah, my friend is driving and I'm just chilling out in the back and I'm looking at the enemies and all. So that's a different vibe other than what like people look forward for certain kind of games. So yeah, I like multiplayer games where I just move ahead with my friends and all, express or
I
something
agree.
like that. And do I do my own strategies like crawling, or like if I need to hide behind the trees or the bushes, I'm free out there, nobody's looking around me, so I can do that, shoot or something like that. So kind of that kind of game, yeah.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, mobile game is huge, man. Like especially right now, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are even moving to more advanced games online too. Let's get some comments out there. Yeah, shout out, morning fam. What is up, Chief? Is that Chief O? Chief U? I'm gonna say Chief U. Chief U. If I can't pronounce it and I butchered it, my bad. But yo, shout out to you, man. Is this thing on? Yes, it is. It is absolutely on. What is going on? Crypto Nad, you're a myth, a legend. I always see you out there. When is V2 going prime time? Listen, this is the question, the money question that everybody is asking. It is going to go on soon. Today, I will take a little bit of time to talk about it, but I want to really talk about all the cool stuff that's going on with Sonus and Nemo and why you guys should definitely be checking them out. It's never financial advice or, do your own research, blah, blah, blah. But me personally, as a person, I think they're dope and I think you should check them out. Let's see. Shout out from Sleazy throwing his comment. It's in the top man. His heart stuck on diamond and marbles.
I'm in
And
diamond, so
listen, man, listen. All in the
I see the
struggle.
jab there.
All in the struggles. That being said, before we jump in, I want to pass the mic to Sleazy. We're gonna do a little D&D, but before we do, I do want to do a little bit of a checkup on everything that's been going on since there's so many things going on right now in the ecosystem. On Sonium, we got the ACS campaign and a bunch of other campaigns that I don't even know if I'm at liberty to say. Obviously, we work very closely with the team, so there's going to be a few more that's coming up. So a lot of things to be excited for. Everyone is going nutty about these freaking badges. Absolutely bananas.
You're telling me, man. Yeah.
Oh my god! Yo, I have like 10. No, I'm not exaggerating. We have probably it's hundreds. They tickets a day. It's just wild. Thank God, like we have like 20 some people technically on the team, but 7 in the C-suite, and and like everybody is constantly, and I mean everybody is like hands on deck for this. So it's pretty cool. We get this, and it's crazy because you get the same exact question. Like you'll answer it, and then somebody will ask that same question in just a different way.
As you're saying that, I'm literally looking at people asking the same question that I
I'm
just
like,
answered 2
bro.
minutes ago.
Yeah, it's like it's the last day. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
and it's like, he'll be like, listen, if I do 11 transactions, this is literally what I told anybody: 11 transactions of any kind, buy, sell, swap, mint, and then they go, okay, but if I do a mint transaction,
Does that
11
count?
times, does that count? And I'm like, bro, I just so from now on, when anyone asks a question, the only thing I do is resend the pin tweet. I'm
Yes,
like,
exactly. That's exactly what I did.
and I'm like, listen, man, I love you. It's not that I don't love you. It's that a human can only take so much. But anyway, yes, V2 will be ready in the next couple of days, guys. We'll have the new. I'm not even gonna. It's entirely new. When I say different, it's gonna be like mind-blowingly different. So stay tuned. Anyway, Sonus, let's start with you guys. What the hell is up going on? I mean, I see you guys cooking over there.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm really excited to see what's coming from you guys as well. I mean, ever since you've been doing the shows, like you've been progressing, I've noticed from the first time we did it to now, just seeing from afar, and I'm not even in, on a team with you guys, but I can see you're growing. So, tell me a little bit about that.
Much appreciated. For those of you who don't know, we're actually we've been building the space for about like 4 years now. So we actually have a DEX on base. That's how we airdrop some of our tokens initially. So
Okay,
with
cool.
swap base, we've done over $1 billion in cumulative volume, and we have no loss of user funds or exploits or any of that kind with regards to any platform that we've built. But with Sonus and Sony, I have to give a lot of credit to Soneium because Soneium is really the ones that have leveraged us with regards to anything. I mean, even we got tweets out from Lido's intern, like Lido community feed. And actually, that's a project that me myself I've been trying for years to at least get some attention. And for them, they're able to leverage that for us. Not even just that, just getting us in with other counseling partnerships with you guys and Nemo. A lot of the stuff was leveraged by Soneium itself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the credit does go to them. And then at the same time, too, building a flywheel type protocol. I mean, I could go into huge depth about how Soneium works, but it works similar to how Kaio Finance or even Velodrome work. But with us, we're trying to actually position ourselves a little bit differently in that sense. We're focused more on like our UI/UX at the moment. So we have a lot of updates to actually push out. But that's one of the things I think a lot of dApps are lacking on heavily right now. So, I mean, there's
and it takes time. The other thing I want to add real fast, not to cut you off, but like,
of course.
I want everyone that's listening to you, like a lot of you guys got to understand, man, there's this constant demand for people to move fast in this industry. And it's like, you have to understand, man, that and we're seeing over the last few years a byproduct of why some things tend to go wrong and why things tend to crumble and people get upset and they get mad. It's because the expectations, man, a lot of times they're just unreasonable. So the fact that you guys are taking your time, and I say this to the user for all those listening right now, like when you're using a platform, it used to be where people don't release something until it's ready and then you don't know they've been building for like 5 years. Now people release, because Facebook used to have a motto in the early 2000s, move fast and break things, and release it. And that's been like the tech MO for years, which is release a product and then just reiterate, fix it as you go, because it's better to have something out there than to have nothing. So my whole point of saying all this is like, give the guys a break, man. It takes some time. You're probably sick of hearing, oh, it's coming. But the truth of the matter is there's so many different variables that you have to take into account. We want the users, to have a great experience, because it's hard to recover when they don't. So, kudos to you guys. You're doing it the right way.
Yeah, precisely. I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people were asking, what are the plans with Sonus and Soneium? And I told them exactly what you said. Let's wait for the first quarter or two, while ecosystems actually get fleshed out, because me personally, I know some of the top DeFi protocols that want to deploy on Soneium. So they're just getting ready for that, integrations of those sorts. Like I just mentioned, Lido coming over. Not even just Lido, having Circle natively deploy these are actually like concrete things that some blockchains over even like $1 billion they have not done yet. So for
Mhm.
Soneium to be able to leverage that in itself, it's a no-brainer. With regards to Sonos, of course, that was one thing as well too. Was once the token launching, the airdrop expectations, things of those sense. But we just had to sort of analyze the volume of the actual chain as well as the TVL. So we wanted to do that too, so we could actually launch and release successful admissions. So we were doing that, of course, and then we actually had a point system and everything, and then we reallocated those points. And I mean, we're happy to say that our tokens. I mean, I do want to say that flywheel effect has started, but I mean, personally, me, I think Sony right now is at a fraction of what it's at. Like right
A
now, it's at
fucking fraction. Like, and
it's,
people do not understand how big this chain's going to be. And the reality is they know that because they understand business. Sony's been building things for I mean, many years, maybe close to God. When did Sony come out? It had to be in the 60s, 70s, somewhere around there. Could have been even earlier. Let me look up what that official date is. So to be honest with you, a lot of people don't understand that a lot of these Web2 companies, you know, you can hate that and be a maxi and a purist and say, oh, you know, when these companies come in, they're going to destroy everything or they're going to take away. It's not that at all, man. It's not from what I'm seeing and working with the team, they are extremely hands-on. They are extremely like anytime you need anything, you know, they make sure they get you what you need to help you succeed. And most importantly, like you said, they leverage the projects. And that's the key that these chains don't learn, man. A lot of these people don't realize that it's not about, you know, it's not about just what you do. It's about what you do and give back to the people that are the users, right? And they've
exactly.
learned that. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
And that's one thing I want to say as well too, is like that they gave them that freedom in that sense. Of course, I mean, this has been discussed plenty of times. So why hasn't Sony pushed this chain? I mean, they've been
Holy shit, 1946. 1946.
That's when Sony launched.
Yup. And pardon me for guys that I body this. Nihonbashi, Tokyo, Japan, May 7th, 1946. Wow.
What was our first product actually in 1946?
Let's see. What was Sony's first product in 1940s? I bet you that's something to do with probably movie production or something like that, or some type of like home appliance. Boom.
But yeah.
On May 7th, 1946, Sony's launched with an electric rice cooker. And
Wow.
though it was a commercial failure, and the company later focused on repairing radios and other electrical equipment. And then on May 7th, 1946, Ibuka was joined by Akio Morita to establish a company called Tokyo Shushin Kogyo. And it ended up going into telecommunications, and they launched a tape recorder called the Type G. And then 1958, the company changed its name to Sony.
So yeah, that's one thing. It's like they're always shifting. I mean, if we're gonna talk about you from that day to now, they released
Almost 100 years,
yeah,
bro.
I know, right? They had the cassette players, the Walkmans. I mean, Sony was always ahead of the curve.
Orange with the orange thing. I used to remember
man.
I had one.
I was a kid. I was a kid when that came out, but yeah, no, I do remember that.
It was awesome.
But yeah, with regards to Sonos, of course.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, like we got featured on DAP Radar's most recent newsletter. So that's obviously good marketing too. And at the same time, if you're not aware, DexScreener actually isn't fetching our V3 pools, our V3 volume actually. So one thing too, and we're in discussions with them, and it'll get resolved. We're actually doing over 300K daily on our V3 pools as well. So we're actually doing like almost 3 times the amount of volume that you see even on DexScreener right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we are working with them, of course, and yeah, it's just great to see. I mean, everyone as well. Nemo's one of our partners too. As everyone's, of course, scrambling to get their badges, there is something that we're noticing is that these campaigns they're driving users to the chain. I mean, right before this ecosystem badge got announced, I believe Sony was around 30 mil TVL, and even from then, when it first launched, it's 10 mil. So I mean, while the growth is slow, it's consistent, and that's one thing too is that even if a campaign isn't running. I mean, Nemo, I mean, I don't mind saying some of this information. We have things where we want to do our own campaigns too. So maybe have like a 3-4-way type partnership where we can keep users consistently funneling into the chain. And I think Soneium is definitely on board with that. We just don't want to make it we just don't want to, how can I say this, collide with any other
yeah, of course.
We don't want to blow the ecosystem too much.
Of course. And I think people, burnout is real. It's all about, at the end of the day, you want to space yourself, you want to pace yourself. And I always say this all the time. The truth of the matter is people get burnt out really quick in this industry, and they get so overly excited to do something that what ends up happening is users get fatigued, right? And that happens a lot in this particular industry. There's a couple other industries that are like that as well. Like you see it a lot in the tech industry when it comes to like GPUs and what's going on with Nvidia and all. For the long, especially you see with iPhones and Apple, like it was nutty. Like people used to camp outside, literally camp outside in a sleeping bag for the new iPhone, and I'll never forget how nutty that was. And now you look back at it, people are just like, it comes out every single year. So I think it's going to come to a point where like something's got to give, because Moore's law can only go so far, man.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing too. I mean, luckily for us, of course, the stock market is a good thing to compare to. So like once we see that
Yes.
we're a fraction of there, we're like, okay, well, there's definitely room to grow.
Come
Uh,
on, yeah, for
but
sure.
one thing that I really liked with Soneium, and I've said this plenty of times, was I actually liked, and people criticized them on Twitter, was I remember when tokens were first launching and they were kind of blacklisting the tokens. One's called actually Sony of those sense, because you wanted to deter. I get there's a meme coin community, but you wanted to deter those type of people from deploying there, because the intentions aren't to actually build value to the chain. It's just to, I mean, just maybe make a quick buck or something like that in that sense. And it's kind of bad PR for them. So how can Sony back something when they have
Now,
PlayStation tokens
you're
and
right.
all sort of stuff? And it made complete sense to me. So,
Yeah.
and that's why I see all the TVL coming back in.
Yeah, and here's what's even better, and here's the truth, and I'll say this because I want to give also I want to hear what's going on with Nemo as well. Here's the reality: people do not understand business, like they don't get it. For the longest time, people have got to run. I'm gonna give me a second here. I'm gonna try to make this as condensed as possible. People have been running around in crypto, Web3, blockchain, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. I've been here over 10 years, and I still just say like Web3 was a thing, a term that I believe is actually coined by Polkadot. A lot of people don't know that. But the reality is that people have been running rampant for a long time. It is, the digital Wild West, as we like to say. And the fact of the matter is when there's a new frontier, when there's a new early adoption of tech, you'll always get the super techie people, you always get the scammers, you'll always get that at first because there's no regulation. And the purists will be like, oh, we don't want any of that stuff. We want it to be completely decentralized. It is decentralized. The heart of what this is decentralized. And that always is going to be, for me, the most important aspect, which is the values, right? And what it represents and the opportunities that it gives, because blockchain is really, in my personal opinion, is implemented and given two major things to society for those that are able to recognize the opportunity. And it's giving them freedom and opportunity. Those are the two words I always use: freedom and opportunity. Being able to be anonymous is great. It's just a byproduct of that. But being able to be sovereign, being able to, your keys, your crypto, as people say, being able to make sure that you truly own your assets, whether they be digital or not. Like, a lot of people still can't grasp the weight of that because they're so focused on the physical item. But the reality is when you look at the title, of your house, when you look at different things that you own, for example, when you buy a car and you lease a car or you finance a car, you don't own that title until that car's paid off. So a lot of people don't realize is that you're driving around a car that really isn't yours.
And you're losing, it's depreciating asset
It's
every single day.
depreciating every single day. So if you want to sit there and preach to me about that, I'm not really going to listen to you. I'll hear you out of respect, but it just shows me you don't know what you're talking about, because the reality is ownership is a whole nother, like the philosophy, like even if you get deep into this on a really in a philosophical level, we could talk about that another time on what ownership really is and why it really plays a big role in what we're doing here. But my whole point, to get to the premise, is what Soneium saw, and even Vitalik commented on this. When everything that first day, 48 hours, it was kind of scary. Everything went crazy. Everything started getting shut down. You could use a different RPC, by the way. You could still make those meme coins. You could still, you're just not going to use the one that Sony released, the public. But the reality was you were still able to do that. But the guys that like to bot everything, comments, the bullshit grifters, what they do is they automatically start fudding because they're bags, right? Like they're not winning. They're mad as hell that they got shut down. But the truth is like everyone wants to talk about it until it happens to you. Imagine that you built a brand through years and years of your blood, sweat, and tears and hard work, and then somebody just comes along and steals that.
And then
What's
it's another not it's an incentive for other people to come on and do the same thing. So it was a very smart decision for them to do it right away.
Absolutely. And Vitalik said, listen, this is the beauty of blockchain. You're still able to direct your like you're able to tell your users, hey, this is our rules. Like if you're going to be on our chain, it's decentralized. You can do whatever it is that you want, but there are guidelines. It's like someone inviting you to their home and saying like, hey, listen, man, you can eat the food. The fridge is open. Do whatever you want. Just don't burn the house down. And the reality is they're protecting Sony. They're a big picture. You know how everyone laughed at Elon when we were talking about this? You mentioned this. Everyone laughed at Elon when he bought X as a stupid move. Like what business is a spaceman, a car guy, a Solar City, the Burrowing Company? What do you have to do with social media? And that was the true genius of it. It now came back around to where it's like it went, 30 million to being $80 billion, $90 billion. And the last laugh is going to be with Soneium as well, because the truth of the matter is they're trying to be the entertainment layer. So nobody in this game had an identity. Some people like Solana were really good at driving traffic, but you really had to hone in on who they were, what they were, why did that happen? Well, that was because they brought culture. They were doing like it's a casino. Like Solana
Exactly.
is a casino.
I say the exact same thing. Sorry about cutting you off.
No, you're fine. Solana is a big casino. What did Ethereum do? Ethereum is an infrastructure. All those that want to be Ethereum killers, bro, you're better. All the money that you're wasting and time you're wasting your fucking time. It is so deeply enrooted EVM tech into everything we're doing. I'm sorry, but Solana will never beat Ethereum. None of these. The TVL is just too fucking huge. It's the academic layer and it's the infrastructure layer of this entire thing. It's almost like JavaScript. So for all my programmers out there, you know how we all like people hate fucking JavaScript. Some people are just like, it's just a shitty language, but we're stuck using it because it's so fucking deeply embedded into everything that in web development, just period, that there really is no going back at this point.
Like if you hate Java, I don't know about C++. People might hate that even more.
yeah. So there really is no going back. So like the truth is EVM tech is so deeply rooted into everything we do. And then likewise, Bases has its own vibe. You have to figure out who you are and what your identity is going to be. And Sony has way too much IP. The companies that are going to win this race, and I'm not even say a race because it's not a race, it's a marathon. And I don't even think anybody really wins. I think everyone wins or everyone loses. And that's why I like it. The truth is everyone is humbled. When that market hit, Sony, it's a billions and $billion company. They got humble. Everyone gets humbled when the bear comes in. So that's the one thing that it does is it humbles everybody. And the truth of the matter is when they bring these big IPs and other major companies that have a lot of IPs, Disney, when all of these, even though that's a whole nother convo, Disney's unfortunately suffering from delusion right now, but they're just getting too much politics getting involved instead of the entertainment. And that's one thing that I like about what Sony's doing. They're not bringing in any type of emotions into this. They're saying, listen, we're going to give you the products that you all know, love, and enjoy, and those IPs are coming. Just be patient. They're doing it little by little without any of the bullshit that comes with it, and they're just simply protecting they're doing what a company's supposed to do. They're protecting the people that are building theirs interest, right? They're protecting the people, but they're also protecting the companies that are building there because they're the ones that are going to build products that'll bring users. So that's kind of just my rant that I wanted to say. I love the team. I love what they're doing. Soda is doing a great job of driving the ship. And we'll see. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen. If you're here for instant gratification, you're in the wrong industry.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, a lot of the top DeFi protocols are looking at Soneium right now. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of when they're going to deploy. And sometimes they've reached a cap with regards to how much they can raise in liquidity. So
exactly.
A lot of eyes are on here right now.
And then not only that, like it's gonna be hard. Like when I was speaking with CM about this the other day, or was it Yatsu? I forgot which one I was talking with. But long story short, we were like, listen, man, DeFi is pumping. When a chain first launches, everyone has to understand how it works, right? Like I like to peel back the layer. Like there's what people see, and then there's what actually goes on. And a lot of people like to pretend they understand it, but the reality is there's a lot more to this system than people realize. For example, when a chain launches, the number one thing that it has to focus on is people say users, right? Like that's one way to look at it, sure. But when there's users, that doesn't necessarily translate to sustainability. Because in DeFi, Web3 in general, whether it be on the entertainment side or the DeFi side, there's a lot of squatters too. There's a lot of people that jump in spaces and talk that really don't own half of the stuff that they say. I know people that have jumped in crypto, believe it or not, that don't even own Bitcoin. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. To each their own. We should welcome everybody. If it's a place where they feel at home and they feel like they like the vibe with the culture, go ahead, man. Like, don't listen to anybody that tells you got to be a maxi. Ignore those people. Do you? But what I will say is the number one thing that a chain, I have to look at this as a business, right? Because it is a business at the end of the day. And what they need to do is they need TVL, right? If they're raising money as well for their own VCs, you saw Monad was well known because it raised a shit ton of money. That doesn't always translate, to success. And a lot of people are learning that now. So, for example, they were supposed to be super hyped, but it took a long time for them. Now, don't get me wrong. I love what they're doing still. I think they're one of the greatest, if not the best marketing, out there with Solana chains. Their marketing is incredible. Their community building is incredible. They raised a shit ton of money, like $250 million, whatever the hell it was. But you're not really seeing that translate right now. And that's interesting case study. And what ends up happening is not everybody that comes on chain ends up being active users. So when you're needed to capture TVL, what's the number one way you do that? Well, it's with DEXs, obviously, like Sonus, Nemo. These guys, they offer opportunities, yields for people to come in that are the power users and whales, right? Because a lot of people don't realize that DEXs don't always have 10,000 users using it. Sometimes, what a lot of strategy is for bigger guys now too, is when they get big enough, they really start focusing on the KOLs and the big shot whales. And there's sometimes like 3 or 4 whales that will hold that. They just have so much volume moving through there. And this is getting into market making and how that, and I'm not even going to jump into how that works maybe another time. But all of this is a major part of scaling a chain from zero. So what these guys do, once again, like Sonus and Nemo, they're the lifeblood of a chain when it's first, in its earliest stages, and as it continues to grow, because they present opportunities for traders, for those that come in and lock in that value, right? And then later on, that allows people to come in on the entertainment layer when enough people make money, and you see this a lot. When people, are in a bull market and everything's pumping and they're banking on their favorite meme coin, they look for things to do. They want to spend that money somewhere. And that's where the entertainment layer comes in. The social layer comes in. When you see the Yoke, the Posse Studios, of Soneium, that's when that tends to matter. So it is a delicate balance because it is very much needed. And DeFi right now is pumping on Soneium.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of points there. Just with regards to users flooding into the chain or how many users are using it. To us, it's never mattered whether it's been 10 or 1,000. We always take pride in that. And it's like you mentioned too, regards to the platform, it might benefit a certain group of people to actually hold the TVL up. And in that case, it gets it even easier to actually drive in other individuals of those to not only just come into our DEX, but come onto Soneium. The thing is for us as well is like we want to leverage a lot of the stuff that we did on base and then bring them onto Soneium. And if the opportunity presents itself, then absolutely come bridge onto Soneium. There's a lot of incentives here, and it might actually be better for your product. So with regards to that, that's where we're trying to position ourselves and do the best that we can too. But we're just kind of vouching for them for good, legitimate projects too. And then the really big names, we have contacted them, and then they've been saying, yeah, well, we're keeping an eye out, but it's just a matter of
we're stealing volume from everybody, and they don't even see it happening.
Yeah.
Listen,
it has to though. That's how Web3 grows initially, and then we focus on Web2 afterwards.
Oh yeah, listen. Well, I'll end it with this and then pass it to Nemo. The reality is this, man. right now, where a lot of users are being recycled. Like that's what's happening in Web3. That gate hasn't fully opened. It started to, with Trump speaking at more crypto conferences, with regulations in the US relaxing. You're seeing it, right? It starts with institutional investment. It always starts with institutions. And the money, well, on a base level, it starts with power users, it starts with the tech community, it starts with early adopters. But when it comes to adoption, it tends to start with like institutional investment and all those, because people, that are growing companies need funding to go. You look at the VC world, you look at the ETFs, the inflows and the outflows, the demand with Bitcoin. That is still a major, major part of what has moved this market for 24, 25 at all. Moving forward, we're going to see the next stage. And the next stage is these big companies and IPs moving in. And the reality that I tell these people is, when someone looks, with all due respect, I love these chains. We're building there. In fact, we're on like 5 other chains as well. So when we're building with Base or anyone else, I think it's great. They have Coinbase. When we're building with Cronus, it's great. They have CDC. That's awesome. But the fact of the matter is people recognize brands. So when Sony, the company like Sony, starts doing stuff, when you've seen that in movie theaters, when you've seen this in billboards and commercials and ads and gear that you've used for years, it's not that they're better. It's just they're more recognizable. And users will go with what they're comfortable with, right? It's how brands work. It's why people buy certain cars for years. Like I have a friend of mine that buys Hyundais, and with all due respect, I can never and I will never drive a Hyundai. And that's me just being an idiot. They're probably great cars and they have other things, but I love BMWs. Like I have only ever owned as my personal car a BMW. And I love the way they feel. I love the way they turn. I love the way they drive. And that's the power, maybe it's branding, but I'm a car guy. So like that's a whole another argument.
You love
That's
paying
a
for
whole
the
other,
parts?
listen, I see people say, you're paying a lot more for money. That's another debate. I actually don't pay much for maintenance. I think that has a lot to do with how you treat your shit. But anyway, don't get me. I have ADHD. You know me. I'll be in like 10 different places. So my whole point is saying that is that, listen, man, Sony has a recognizable IP, and a lot of people are recognizing it that are in the Web3 community already. OG users. OG users are like, oh shit, wait a minute. There's something here. Is it going to be the big hit that's going to happen overnight? Is it going to be like Solana overnight? Whatever. No, but Solana's like died down tremendously from where it was. Like it's still big, but it's nowhere near the hype train. I go to every convention. I just got back from ETH Denver. Like I'm telling you, it's not what it was when it was like that era. It's just not.
And
go ahead.
yeah, the last thing I'm going to chime in, because I know I'm taking up too
No,
much
no,
time.
yeah, no, you're not. It's fine.
I want to let Nemo speak too. Is that there's not a lot of infrastructure built on Solana. With regards to how much volume was actually driven towards there, you'd think people would want to build on there. But when it really came down to it, there's like Jupiter, Radium. There's really isn't many dApps when it comes.
It's monopolized.
Exactly.
It's monopoly. It is, and I've always said that it's a monopoly.
Yeah, and I know something like GMX recently deployed there, but it's exactly what you mentioned before. When it came to JavaScript or EVM, I don't think people are gonna dive deep into Rust, because not only is it more difficult, but it just makes it even more confusing as people don't even understand blockchains. And Solana itself isn't actually a blockchain. I mean, that's a whole different discussion in itself.
It's not. I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, we're gonna do it. Let's pass the mic. That being said, guys, the whole point of that is that guys like Sonos and what they're doing, and Emo, what they're doing is crucial, because it brings TVL. 2, that's going to bring in the crypto users, right? Those that are not into like the on-chain activities. They just want to trade. They just want to pump bags. That'll bring in those. And that needs to happen first. Why? Because those are the ones that founded the industry. Those are the ones that are, putting the money into the industry. What comes next? Sony's job next is to bring the entertainment, the interactive users, bringing the people that want to use it. But it's the builder's job. Actually, it's our job to build abstracted tech, things that are very easy to use. We build products for people to use, and it's Sony's job to vet that and support that and bring in those users to those projects from their user base. And that's what's happening. That's going to take time. Like, you were talking about a flywheel effect. I'm already starting to see the flywheel effect. Right now it's early adopters, but be mindful, in the next 6 months to a year, I would not be surprised if this chain is like in a top fucking 3, 4, like hands down. I think a lot of people are going to get shocked at what they're going to see, and it's just because of the power of it's recognizable. Um, you could see a great case study would be what happened when PayPal launched their Pi USD. Yeah, it came down significantly, but it just absolutely exploded fast. So we'll see. That being said, let's pass it over. What is going on, CoinGuin? I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Nemo before we close out and do Sleazy's D&D for today.
Okay, so so there were lots of revolutionary thoughts I too had in my mind, but like I'll appreciate both Hustle and Gum that you accurately pinpointed each significant point. I'm sure that you had meticulously gathered for a long time. So yeah, that I heard that. And yeah, let's start from Nemo a bit, then I'll be sharing my viewpoint over what you were just discussing. So yeah, basically, so what I have seen over here in this particular ecosystem, like Sonium has been launched just 2 months back, and all the DeFi projects over here, I don't see them just moving ahead like a plain normal or something like that. Everybody over here is looking to hunt something very innovative, going off chain, on chain, whatever taking it is. Each revolution can be seen over their projects, their Discord, their Twitter. Hyper super active projects are there. Like we had a lots of partnership with our Sonas, other DeFi projects. We have some other synergies that we will be moving ahead of the partnerships and all. Like if I mention about Nemo, the current we are like in the phase 1, we just provided etherfi rewards and eth lrts with extra yield and all sort of things that we provided. Now when we talk about etherfi, that was the biggest lrt, and getting on board onto the Soneium at this space was a like very like absolute great partnership that we initiated after the launch of Soneium. Like from the day one itself, like we introduced etherfi, so it's not something that we are restricted over here in Soneium. Same Gum was mentioning a context about Lido right now. So it is something that we are bringing out all the users, their attention over here on Sonium. And like you were mentioning about the FERD and other thing that people are moving ahead with the Sonium. You mentioned a thing about that in the beginning of this particular chat, is everything is mind game. And those guys who are not looking to move ahead with those innovative thoughts, or they're not ready, they're quite conservative with their own thoughts or something like that, so they are not moving ahead with what can be seen from the next side of the fence. They are not moving ahead with their things, like they're quite stagnant with their own things. But like yes, the fact is that Sonium has been launched, all the DeFi protocols projects and other projects has been launched over here within the last 2 months. All the stats that we can see, and we were talking about the Solanas and Ethereum ecosystem and all. But who Sonium is, like the whole market knows Sonium, the trust, the retail market, it has already anything that Sonium comes around, people will be moving ahead like that. But yes, when it's start, it's little difficult or something. You mentioned a context about the JavaScript. JavaScript syntax is quite complex. It's not very much fancy like Python or something like that. People complains a lot about that. But the front end, back end, evergreen JavaScript is the one solution that can be moved ahead. And for those also who are not very much looking forward for JavaScript or something, that it is nice, they are somewhere in their daily life, they are utilizing some libraries, some script or something like that. So yes, again, I'm coming on the point that whether it is FUD, whether it is stocks or any issue or something, like people will be with passage of time, they will be moving ahead with finding out the utilities, because the project, because the team, the whole ecosystem is bringing out a lot into the market, not just from the Sonium, but partnering with the tier 1 guys from the different protocol projects ecosystem in Web3. And I believe that those who are not very much supportive to Sonium as of now, I believe that they are our loyal users. They will be our loyal users. So all those who are in positive and all those who are in negative, All those are our users. As I mentioned, the JavaScript library, somebody is not wanting the syntax, but somehow they are utilizing it, not today but after some time. So similarly, those who are creating FUD or something like that, when degens, when OGs will be moving towards Sonium, when it will be visible, I don't feel like anybody can resist. So they are resisting, or the things they are figuring it out, just hiding all the major things. They might be for sometimes due to their conservative mindset or something. But yes, as the wind flow, Sonium will be rising, things will be towards us. And yes, those who are creating the FUD, they will be our users only. So yeah, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like that.
No, I agree. I think the one thing that's unique about this space is excuse me, the one thing that's unique about this space is that there is room for everybody to grow, right? I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are worried, hey, I have another particular project who's doing something similar, are we in competition? The truth of the matter is that if you're focusing on it that way, don't get me wrong, we're all individually, we're companies, we're businesses, we're trying to grow and scale and gain more users, and sometimes that can clash, right? But the reality is you have to know what it is that you do in your identity, and focus on that, right? Because that's what wins out every time. The fact of the matter is it's small minded to think, hey, what am I doing that's going to, capture all the volume on Sony? Well, I don't technically want that, because if that happens, then you don't have a diverse. And I don't mean diverse for the sake of diverse, but let me be careful with that. What I mean is that it's more prudent to have, users coming into an ecosystem and using it for 1,000 different reasons than to have people coming and using it for only one reason. And I think there was a time when that mattered, for businesses and companies, where they'll say, hey, listen, this is what we do, this is what we're known for. But even movie theaters, COVID taught us that no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be an experience that hits the reset button or humbles. Like, times change, things change. Whether you like it or not, you do have to adapt, you do have to evolve. And if you're not able to pivot, if you're not able to be malleable, if you're not able to, make the adjustments for your user base, then you're going to die out. And if you want an example of that, is one of the greatest companies ever built of all time that was big, like Amazon. I talk about this all the time. It was an absolute fucking powerhouse. Started the idea of what Amazon did before there was really an internet, but they did it with catalogs and magazines. And that was Sears. And Sears was so huge, billions and I mean, their buildings were huge. They were like malls.
So
Next
sad
thing,
when it shut down.
yeah, and the reality is the guy, they either bought it, or the CEO was a real estate mogul. And what he did is they basically liquidated a lot of the stuff, and I'm sure the buildings will, they're selling that off, the real estate wise. But that's because, like, what went wrong, and I'm not going to go too deep into that right now, but what went wrong is, unlike a lot of some of the big box offices like Target, even Walmart, they adopted like online sales. They adopted for their user base, like, pick up, you order online and you pull up to a parking spot and they come out and bring your food. Like, they adopt it. And Sears, just unfortunately, they didn't, they have such a big fucking brand. I wouldn't be surprised if someone buys it and redoes it, like with Toys R Us. When Toys R Us went under, it absolutely blew my fucking mind. And when I say blew my mind, I don't get surprised much. I've worked on an executive level in business for many, many years, so I understand how this works. But the reality is that was just such a fast crash, and it shouldn't have been, because there is no other place to buy toy. There is no toy brand that is the absolutely place. Walmart's not it. Target's not it. TJX, no matter what you say, I don't care what company you spout off to me from Europe or America or from Asia, nobody comes close to the brand that Toys R Us built. And the truth is every Christmas they had the big book. You put stickers in it. Anyone that was old enough to remember, like, that was where you got toys. So, like, to me, that name holds as much weight as fucking Sony, as much weight as Disney, as much weight as, like, it was a serious IP. And at the end of the day, they're starting to do a revival movement. It shows you that it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how recognizable your brand is. Times change. New generations come in.
Yeah,
Technology,
sentiment will shift no matter what, and
it
that's
will.
exactly what happened. That's what happened with the world. People just stopped going more towards stores, ordering things
Yes,
online.
but it's
Uh,
coming back.
yeah, and that's what I mean. It's coming back exactly. So as long as they can make this shift to make people actually come into the store, and it even just like you said, to make it an experience. Because I remember Toys R Us when I was a kid. You'd go in and it was packed.
It's fucking nuts. It was
All the
nuts.
time. It was like a field trip to go there. So
Yep.
I mean, that in itself. I mean, when that happened, that was just such a quick thing. But exactly what you said.
Crazy.
Nothing's too big to like not go down, but at the same time,
Nothing.
you know what I mean? As long as they do the revival and they shift like the sentiment properly, like yeah, if you want to order things, I mean, have good overnight shipping. If you want to pull up to the store and have an experience there, birthday parties, I think those are the things they should move towards because yeah, I feel like people are lacking on that a lot more, even on malls in general. A lot of
Here,
malls too.
here's what happened now. So I noticed something the other day, right? This blew my mind. So once upon a time, the reason why you order things online was convenient, but it was also cheaper. So because people would get it directly from the manufacturer, you would just get things at a when I say cheaper, I mean like fucking cheaper. We're not
Yeah,
talking about like $1 or two. Like you'd order a fucking TV and spend $1,000. You got one online, you get it for like 200 bucks, like some crazy shit. Like you can order from Alibaba, obviously, and all those other Eastern manufacturing companies. But what really crushed it, which kind of fucked the game up too, was ClickFunnels. That's a whole nother talk what Russell did over there. And everything that happened with e-commerce really just exploded. That's actually how Luca Netz made his money. A lot of people don't know Pudgy Peng. He was already filthy rich before he bought Pudgy Penguins, and it wasn't from crypto. He was like an 8-figure e-commerce guy. Like he already came at a young age. He figured, he cracked the code, and he was working in e-com, and he made a shit ton of money, millions of dollars in e-com, and then came into obviously Web3. Anybody with money is always looking for different places to put their money and assets, etc. And for those that don't know the story, check it out. But my whole point is saying that is that now when I went to Zoomies the other day, which is like a skate store, to grab some trucks and some wheels, some stuff for the park, as I went to the park with the fam that day, it was ridiculous. It was just cheaper, and it was nutty because stores were more expensive. And in malls, the idea of the mall was really malls represented a culture. They were a symbol. So when you were younger, you ran around in malls, whether they be small strip malls or bigger malls, and it had movie theaters, it had Annie Ann's pretzels, it had there was just things that were staple in malls. And what ended up happening is with COVID that crushed a lot of that shit. But now it's starting to come back because people want. I say this all the time. If you're going to bet on anything, fuck a company, forget anything, forget identity, bet on people. Because here's the truth, man, bet on yourself. At the end of the day, humanity will always win out. And you know why? Because by nature, people are social creatures. I think at heart, people are all good. They want to be good. I don't think people are bad by nature. The reality is everyone that says they're a recluse or they go in, they're not. Because even when you're going online and going in your communities, you're just doing a different form of socializing. Everything in this has already been done. It's not debatable. Like this is in anthropology, this is in sociology, this is in psychology. Humans are social creatures. Everyone interacts socially in different ways, but we are social creatures. So when you bet on that, when you bet on people coming together in different ways, or you bet on giving people places to go and things to see, they're always going to want to do that. We're explorers. We're adventurers by heart. Like we're already working with Elon to go to Mars. Like that's what humans do. So the truth is when you give people a place where they can come and have fun and explore, the physical side of that is always massive. And where blockchain's going to succeed is where it supports that digitally. But nothing's going to replace that physical reality. It just won't. And everyone that says it will, it won't. It won't. I'm just letting you know. Until the body no longer exists in any way, shape, or form, which means we're not even human anymore at that point, that will 100% not happen. That being said, Sleazy, finally, as we get to it, I want to jump in to this D&D. We'll have an epic game of D&D and close out with the D&D today.
A lot of good things there said, by the way, Hustle.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that you said there. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you, brother.
Nothing beats the actual physical experience.
Nothing. And that's what DeFi is going to evolve next. The next step for DeFi is you guys figuring out, I love talking about this with people. I don't like hiding the playbook. I want the playbook to be open, because at the end of the day, the more people that come in, the more users that we have, that's the more opportunity for me to be a better company, to be a better person, to be better for my community, to give them, the chance and the opportunity to succeed. That's my goal, is to get them opportunities. So if that means helping them win, and that helps, and helping others win, so I can win in the big picture, then I'm going to do that. If you're going to be a small-minded person and be selfish and think about what's in it for me now, that's not how you grow a company. It's not how you grow a community. You have to put people first. If you put yourself before people, you'll never gain anything in life. When you put others before yourself, you'll gain everything. Trust me, it happens every single time.
Absolutely. One thing I love too is they could be, and it with regards to anything, we built several things too. Um, Even in the space of like there might be negative sentiment, it could take one person to say, "Hey, you guys are doing a great job," for me to actually just keep working. As long as people are happy and people are in there for a good reason, then by all means, you know what I mean.
So shout out for Crypto Nad, loving Sonus at the moment, farming, voting, making it all count. He said, for Sonus, how best to farm X token, trying to maximize my exposure to X token. Need help.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm assuming for he means the Sonus token.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for Sonus, I would just go ahead and pair your favorite assets in the V2 or V3 pools, whether it be wrapped ETH or USDC. Or if you'd like to, of course, take the approach, you could buy Sonus, LP it too, or you could lock it up and then vote for whichever pair that you'd like. When you vote for these pairs, you actually get real yield funneled back into your wallet. It's on an epoch basis, which is every week. So whether it be ETH, USDC, etc., you'd get the APR streamed to you over the next week. And it doesn't matter how long you lock for. You can lock for a week, a month, up to 2 years actually. And every epoch, you have a certain amount of voting power, and just the longer that you vote, the higher voting power that you have. So you could go ahead and do that if you want to sort of stick with the ecosystem and then actually get real yield back to your wallet. And then, or you could go with the route of just LPing your favorite assets or LPing Sonus itself, and then kind of looping those strategies too.
That's a good. I love.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
so that's why we call it a flywheel, right? So
Yeah. And I'll say this, guys, the next big step, I wanted to add this in, the next big step for a lot of DeFi guys, and I tell people all the time, having your own identity, having a token, it's all going to start making sense soon. And you're going to see why it's going to make sense, especially when you start leveraging partnerships. The goal right now, I think, like people say, oh, DeFi is going to be stuck. It's just a token thing. It's no different than the stock market. It's what it's supposed to be. And the reality is that's its identity. And there's a place for that. There's a user base for that. And the reality is the next big move for DeFi to evolve, which I'm excited for, is when you guys start focusing. And this is what I tell all DeFi projects they need to do. Start building relationships with companies you would just never expect to in Web 2, and present to them an opportunity, solve a problem for them, go to them and say, hey, we have this DEX. It may make no sense when I say this, because what the fuck does a DEX have anything to do with any particular company A, B, or C? Well, figure out how to say, hey, listen, if you guys did a token or you did this, we would partner with this. And it could be anything, man. I talk about this all the time. Imagine Toys R Us. Toys R Us was trying to do something. If we reached out to Toys R Us and say, hey, listen, we're building this gaming thing, we're doing this, this, and this, we would like to figure out a way to, bring some value to the company and to the user base. Like, they have the IP, like, you know what I mean? Like, people don't realize things like that is how you build. It's going against the curve. Everyone is doing the same shit in this industry. You have to switch it up and take the chance, and you'll get a million no's. You're going to get far more no's than you are yeses. But you want to know the magical thing about that? The magical thing about business is that it only fucking takes one. And that's it. For every no, in fact, I love that shit. I think about it all the time. I love failure. Failure to me is it's the cheapest, but yet the most expensive and powerful tool and experience that you can have. Fail fast and fail forward. And the faster you fail, as long as you're failing forward, you're failing to get to the yes, to get, you know what I mean? All the no's are they're just doors. And when you get to that yes, next thing you know, it's like, boom. And that may take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But a lot of people, if you just simply wait them out and you keep building and you keep doing what you're doing, you'll see a lot of these other projects are going to fade away. I see it all the time. I've seen it for years. Big names just fucking fade away. And next thing you know, there's opportunity there for you.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, even when I talk about swap base, etc., there's definitely been projects that we have, you know what I mean, that had not gone successful. Always in those sense, we'll always, you know what I mean, do what we can to get back to our users, and it just comes down to the point where I'd rather just build my skills more than just you know what I mean, just go do a grift or something like that. I mean, me personally, it's like what you said. It's gotten to the point where I used to be an investor, and now I'm KYC'd with Optimism and Soneium and all these other big names that have gotten to talk with a lot of other people, and I value that a lot more than just you know what I mean, just launching a meme
Yeah,
coin or being a KOL of those sorts. I enjoy building. It makes me
I
smarter
agree.
personally.
I agree. I agree. Sleazy. Now
Yeah.
moving on to Sleazy. Finally, but not least, you are the man. I'm gonna let you take it away for today's D&D session, which is gonna be pretty dope, man.
Yeah, so for anyone unfamiliar, we have been doing our D&D sessions, and this is my first experiment making a mass-produced type of D&D, which only takes me like half hour to make, out of some kind of news as a sort of a puzzle type of stuff. So you'll see how it goes, and maybe if you are interested in continuing with us, you can join for any of our next sessions. I'll do at least one per live show, I think, because they are not taking too much work to do. Okay, so if you've never watched any of our videos, this Mr. here is called Monsieur Viscus in the West City. He is the Master of Whispers, the guy who greets the newcomers and tells people how exactly the story goes. And so today you'll be role
He's the
playing.
narrator. He's like the narrator.
Yeah, kind of. But I'm
Okay.
also the NPCs.
So when you say Master Whispers, is that very much kind of like how what's
The
his name?
spider.
The
Game of
spider
Thrones.
was for
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm with it.
Yeah, it's again like the spider has birds to bring in whispers or something like that.
The kids, yeah, the kids.
Yeah, and today it's kind of a similar task. So you walk into this bar, you roleplay just as yourselves, and he goes, good morning, folks, or good afternoon, depending on what time zone you live in. I see you're not here for. It's quite early morning. Yeah, it's not the usual time for drinking. Would you like to drink from all the way from last night? Have you had enough, or would you like some breakfast?
Breakfast. Me personally, it is 11:01 a.m. So
Hmm.
we're approaching lunch. So I don't know where time zone the other guys are in. So we'll see.
I'm Eastern, so I guess you could say brunch right now.
Brunch.
Yeah.
I was gonna say brunch. Yeah. Brunch sounds good.
And what about you, gentlemen, Coinguin?
What about you, Koinga?
It's around dinner right now. It's around 9 p.m. IST. Yeah, so I'll
Okay.
be heading with the dinner. Yeah.
Dinner?
I
Okay.
see. Would you like to have some beer with this, or do you not drink for cultural reasons?
uh, Beer is fine. Yeah.
I'll do a beer. Yeah, I'm always good for a beer. I'm good for Stella or Guinness.
Hey, Stella's.
Yeah, Stella. Hey.
Well,
Let's
there-
hold the mood. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
there
Okay.
are some cultures that like to drink all the way in the morning. I guess that you would not be one of them.
There's I'm definitely not one of them. That's some beast mode shit.
Yeah, I don't know if we could do morning to night. I don't know when
Well, in my home city of France, people would sometimes sip a little bit of wine for breakfast. Not all of them, of course, but that's not exactly too out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Now, for today, as usual, there are always some good news floating around my tavern. And while there are some news such as this one, it would be too boring if I just told you what it was about. So instead, why don't you find out for yourselves? There are
Okay.
some interesting individuals that are painfully aware of what's been happening with those news. So I recommend 3 particular individuals for you. Why? Well, you'll see for yourselves why. First
Okay.
of all, why don't you start with this very interesting individual? I'm guessing all of you might recognize his particular style and choice of a headband.
Of course I know who that is, bro. That's my boy, bro.
Oh man, it's the man himself.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's the homie, man.
Now, I must warn you, in these parts, some of them can tell the truth, some of them can tell a lie, and sometimes they tell a story that is completely irrelevant to the actual subject matter. So do try to tell what their drunken rumblings are all about. So, as I said,
Okay.
it might be the truth, or it might be something completely irrelevant or outright false.
Okay, so do I have to ask a question or do I?
Yes, you talk to them and see what news are floating around lately.
Okay. What's hot right now? What is the
Okay,
hottest thing right now going on in
so
Web3?
this one, to approach this particular individual, he is called colloquially Satoshi the Drunken Otaku. He even drinks his own alcohol, as you can see. I believe this is sake, but I'm not too familiar with the.
It's a BYOB.
It might be some kind of
I love the size
Asian
of it.
drink. Yeah, I don't even actually know if this is supposed to look this way, but yeah, it's auto-generated.
AI
Now,
is a motherfucker, man. Go ahead.
so you approach this guy, and he goes, "Hey, are you here from last night at Devaya?
Okay. Sure. I
Who are
was
you
here.
people?"
All right. I am a traveler from afar. Actually, matter of fact, even better. I'm from the.
I'm new here. I'm a traveler as well.
Yeah, I'm actually. I was gonna go crazy and say I'm from the future, but we'll just say I'm a traveler.
All right, then I
Looking.
guess you brought two friends with you. So listen here, there's been some great happenings here recently. So, there's one thing that is even bigger than people advertise. There's this brand, it's called Animoca, and it's
Okay.
gonna make every anime character, like Goku and Sailor Moon. I know that Sailor Moon was very popular, especially with my sister, back when she was like 5. They're gonna
Yo,
make all of them into NFTs. You can fight with them right on the blockchain. You take the characters and you make a whole fight. Like there's this game. It's a Pal World where you
yeah.
can create anything. Well, you're gonna make every kind of IP in there, and you're gonna fight with everything you got. Of course, I am going to be fighting with my favorite ninjas.
Okay.
How do you feel about this?
I think it's pretty dope, man.
That is awesome, actually. Like one thing too about that is the barrier to entry, right? Is like how will they make it where it's like, for example, is Goku gonna be, I mean, we've all heard of the how some cards can be expensive in Hearthstone or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So it's one of those things. As long as because gaming's gone towards the way of pay to win. So one thing too, when it comes to tokenizing, even like a game of those sorts, I always want the barrier to entry to be kind of fair in that sense.
Super low. I want it to be super
Yeah.
low. I agree.
I don't want to get one shot by Frieza's death beam or something like that as I'm playing Goku. I don't know, like yeah.
I love it. Listen, man, I love it. Somebody's gonna like get a head up on you because we'll get it. That's definitely something to talk about on one. Go ahead, Sleazy.
And the barriers to entry are really different for everyone. Some folks can spend up to $100 just overnight on drinks, but there are
Okay.
other folks who say, "I don't want to spend." Actually, the same folks who will say, "I don't want to pay $1 for this curious little thing." Meanwhile,
Okay.
they go to some kind of convention and they spend $10 to buy a magnet for their fridge. Isn't that very ironic here how this works?
It is pretty ironic. So show me give me some give me some
I've heard another rumor. I saw on the board, and I'm referring to Twitter when I say on the board, so for a story content, that someone said this partnership is gonna make anime fans rich overnight with some bullish dollar something tokens. Soneium is gonna explode like a Naruto Rasengan.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Listen, I love you, Sleazy. You're out of your fucking mind, bro. You're absolutely out of your mind, bro. I love it. I fucking love it.
He's a deep dive. He's got it.
He's fucking got it. He's committed, man.
And there's an even bigger info. You see, there's gonna be a studio. It's called Soneium Studios. It's gonna make 3D holograms of One Piece characters.
How the fuck? I always wondered when people tried to do the hollow thing in like 21. I was like, how the fuck does that translate online? I bought so many digital assets that in the traits, I'm an NFT like whale, bro. I am fucking crazy. I'm a collector. And I have fucking NFTs that are supposed to be hollow, but I'm like, you don't see it. It's like, how the fuck is it supposed to be hollow? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and with those characters, I don't know if you've heard, but there are some anime waifus that are going around. So you know how in Japan sometimes there's a loneliness epidemic. Well, there's this one thing where they make this hologram waifu that sits in your home. She sends you messages when you're at work.
So that's their response. That's their response to the low birth rate is to use more
No,
digital.
I
it's
was
not
like,
to
that
the
is
low
not an
birth rate.
answer.
That's
It's a
not
response
it.
to loan. It might not be a response to low birth rate, but it is a response to loneliness. You're gonna feel
Okay.
less lonely.
Yeah, but you're gonna be extinct in another 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Like,
that's what I meant by
sometimes
Band-Aid fix. Yeah.
it's all about how you feel.
At least I die happy.
Yeah.
Yo, you ever seen the meme? You ever seen the Pompeii thing? Where, and this is real. Listen, I like to be a little inappropriate sometimes, but you ever seen the Pompeii thing recently? And this is real, where they have one where, Pompeii, for those that don't know, the volcano that erupted, everybody was in ash. There's one guy on the floor with in his hand. And it was literally, there's a TikTok where people were making fucking funny clips and videos of it.
Yeah,
With
people on TikTok are unhinged.
yeah, unhinged, but literally he's encased in ash. And the last thing, like, because it's everything those people were doing at the moment they died. Like, some people were cooking, some people were holding their kids, scared. It's sad. Some things were sad,
Yeah.
but this one particular guy was spanking the monkey, and he went out with, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You look at it, it's hilarious. It's fucked up, but it's
I
funny.
have to look that up because I
It's
know it's
funny.
gonna make you laugh.
Yeah, it's really funny. Go ahead, Sleazy.
Yeah, and you know what else is great about this waifu? She's gonna send you messages asking when you're gonna be home.
She can pay my
And
bills.
And before you get home, she's gonna turn on the lights in your house so that you can have someone to get back to. Isn't that great?
It's Siri. So basically, what's gonna happen is instead of Siri, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, Sailor Moon," like, you know what I mean? Like, I can see that. That's
And she can do cosplay for you as well.
I see.
I could
Because
actually
she's a
see that.
hologram.
I could definitely see that happening already. Minus a hologram, just that in itself is already possible with AI.
You know the
Yeah.
company I sent you, Sleazy? What was the name of the company I sent you? I even forgot it already. That we're doing that. The guys that are doing with IP, they're trying to do like the virtuals thing, AI agents, but with IP. I forgot. I'll send it to you. I'll look for
You
it.
know what? Someone just sent me one as well. Might be the same thing.
It
I'm
might
forgetting
be.
it too.
Yeah, that's what it is. There's a company right now that's bringing up some hype because they're working with like Disney, with a whole bunch of others. They're trying to do it, and basically, like they made it sound fancy, and I love this part. Like, what I like to do on our shows is like dumb it down and show people, listen, don't let them fool you. They're trying to make it seem like it's this revolutionary thing. All it is what's already out there, just repackaged. It's Siri. Instead of Siri, though, you'll be able to get your own customized, like it'll be Goku. It's ways for major companies to make money off their brand. So, like, if somebody downloads the Goku skin and Goku is your Siri, well, they get royalties from everything that you use that AI agent for. This is actually something we're building right now, but that's for another time. I'll talk about it where, based upon the IP, you can make money, royalties off of your art. So with our Yeehaw, with our upcoming launch, when you create an agent on Yeehaw, anything that someone does with that agent, you earn. So the creators earn. So like we'll talk about that another time. But go ahead, Sleazy.
And there's another thing I heard. Soneium has actually partnered with Animoca brands to make something called something ID, like an anime ID. It's some
Okay.
kind of identity thing for anime fans on Web3. So, there's universal identity. Well, scratch that. We want anime identity. It's
That's funny.
I think they said it's on Ethereum layer 2 already, on Optimism's power chain tech already. And since Soneium is involved with the Optimism, especially the super stack, it's coming fast.
They're beating the shit out of that anime thing, man. Go ahead. I want to say,
Yeah.
like, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I read it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so that's for this guy. So obviously, I gave you some truth, some information that's come with the fake, and some that are just speculations.
Shit, I didn't even think that part about. I thought you were just telling me.
I told more lies than truth here.
Did you? Okay, I know which one's true because I fucking read it.
Which one?
Something. The thing about the Japanese IP or the anime with the brand. Fucking A, man. I can't think.
The anime, like the name service.
Yeah, the IP. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that with the name service.
Okay, so obviously Soneium has nothing to do with the anime. They cannot bring Goku because they don't own it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, that would have been cool though.
But yeah, pretty much. it is your job to discern what part of it is true and what part of it is false, because you're talking to an NPC and you're trying to get to the truth of it.
Okay.
Especially with the ones who are drunk, they're gonna tell you anything.
Oh, okay, I understand now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So which one of what you said was true?
It was the last one. It was definitely the identity, the anime identity one.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Okay.
the true one. I'm always gonna like mix it up. Sometimes truth might be at the end, sometimes truth might be in the middle, sometimes at the beginning, and stuff like that.
Show me the goods. My attention. You got my attention span for.
Okay, so true. Yeah, Animalco brands team up with Soneium blockchain to launch Anime ID. That's the truth.
Can I see? Yeah, where's that post? Go back to the post. Oh yeah. That's the one I saw. Justin and Animoca brand partner with Soneium's blockchain to launch anime idea and Animoca's identity layer. Yeah, this is cool. I worked when I was the CMO over at Crypto Slam. For those who know, Crypto Slam was one of the first companies in Web3 ever, and also one of the first to ever raise. Animoca invested like $9 million in us. That was interesting. Yeah, Animoca is a great company. Yatsu's a great guy. He's the guy that heads that over there. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on this. They've been active, but they've turned into a holding company. So Animoca, if I checked, is the largest holding company in Web3. I think they own over 550, if not close to 600 brands. And they actually started out, fun fact for people, as a mobile gaming company. So they made their name as a mobile gaming company. They basically just built mobile games, and then they ventured out into a holding company once they've had success with that. Because mobile gaming in Web 2, and mind you, this was Web 2, what they're really trying to create, Animoca's whole vibe, their whole persona, their whole entire mission statement is identity, right? So like to them, it's like owning your identity and stuff like that. So anything that they can kind of take and turn it into identity, they will. They do own some pretty strange companies that you're like, what's that have to do with that? But it makes sense. Like Crypto Slam, they were massive holders in because of the data. But interestingly enough, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to see this. So
I'll have to look into them. I've heard of them.
Oh yeah, it's because they're not as big. I mean, I hate to say this. Don't kill me, guys. Catherine, Mo, everybody out there. But listen, the truth of the matter is their brand. Listen, man, people don't get it. This industry moves so fucking fast. Like once upon a time, Animoca was like, if you didn't know Animoca, that's like not knowing who Coinbase is. If you didn't know Animoca, that's not knowing who like crypto.com is.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like you had to know who they were. And the reality is their wave. Listen, man, there's a lot of new people in the space. There's a lot of competitors. There's a lot of things going on, but you for sure know the companies they're involved in. Like if I start naming Sandbox and I start naming like any of the companies that are part of their portfolio, you'll 1000% know who they are. It's just the interesting thing about Web3 is it's a giant fucking echo chamber. And it's crazy because and this is what blew my mind that I learned a couple of years ago that I really had. This is why my motto became get outside your fishbowl. It's because there's echo chambers within. This is the only industry ever in the history of the human race. This is the only industry that has fucking echo chambers within an echo chamber. So it's like there's like paradox. Exactly. It's a straight paradox. Because if you go on Open Campus, which is a chain at LaunchView, they're huge. They have so much volume moving through. There's all types of shit going on over there, like learning. Their whole thing is learning. When they launched, it was a good launch. It was successful. They had a good roadmap, even in a time where it wasn't like supposed to be the biggest. And they did a great fucking job. I think it was 23, 24, somewhere around there. And they did a great job. And they have a whole fucking vibe and community. If you go, it's crazy because what's going on in Solana, people will listen to us that are Solana maxis and be like, these guys are out of their fucking mind. They don't know chain data. You need to look at the data. I do look at the data. I look at how half of your wallets are empty. It's just all bots. But I also know, listen, I watch trading's a motherfucker. But the other thing that people don't realize is that like it's scary. There's volume moving in different areas, right? You just have to get it. Like when Tron launched their fucking version of meme coin, they had a pump for a while. Like, even Sui, like when I at ETH Denver, when I met up.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
When I went to the fucking recently, I just got back from ETH Denver. When I went to the Sui party, shout out to David over there handling ecosystems. You guys are awesome. Trust me, we're still working. We were in talks with them as well. But the reality is like, they have a flourishing ecosystem, and they have a bunch of cool shit they're building there with the gaming console, the handheld, and
Yeah, with all due respect, I think Sui has a better ecosystem than Solana. I know that's off topic, but yeah,
yeah,
like, and then
yeah.
the same programming language just goes to show.
Well,
Do you,
you
do
know
you
why?
prefer quality versus attention? But yeah,
Aptos is like this too. So for those that don't really know, so Aptos is really Microsoft, and the SUI team and all those guys that were building over there were like Facebook employees. So the founders were former Facebook and Meta employees, whatever the fuck. I'm always going to call it Facebook, but former Facebook employees, and they basically brought the same language that they used over there, a bunch of other cool stuff. A lot of people don't know a lot of Solidity and Web3 is also in Go as well, but that's for another time. Our CTO talks about that all the time. He's like, people don't realize a lot of shit is like fucking based off of, like, there's Go involved in this. But anyway, Aptos was supposed to be pretty big, but unfortunately it didn't have the launch. It flopped a little bit, but they revamped the team. They got a new executive C-suite, blah, 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 blah. So like when you look at it that way, Aptos is really kind of like Microsoft. But Sui is it's pretty cool. I like what they're doing over there. I met we're pretty cool with the top decks over there. And they're fucking dope. So shout out to them. Let's see. There's a bunch of other things. But anyway, go ahead, Sleazy.
Yeah.
What else? What's next?
And the false info is, of course, that Soneium is not launching any anime studios.
Yeah, I was about to say
That's
there's
not
no
happening.
fucking way.
Yeah.
Sony, what IP? Let's look this up real fast. There's something I want to look up while we're here.
what IPs do they own? They own a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Actually.
I would say what? Because they're trying to sell Spider-Man potentially back to Marvel. I was just reading that. So, which is a pretty fucking cool because I think Marvel should own it. Shout out, rest in peace, fucking
Yeah,
Stan Lee.
it was a funny thing that they sold, like, at the moment.
That's because COVID. Listen, everybody was hurting, bro. Everybody was desperate back then, and they were fucking selling shit they had no business selling.
I mean, it's more of a friendly thing in that case, right? They kind of sold to Sony. Still had we're still able to kind of build on it. Obviously, the past Spider-Man movies, and then they end up just buying it back. It's kind of a good PR move from Sony.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think it was. I'm not too familiar with this, but I think like Sony owned it initially. It made movies. Then it sold animation rights, so not the movies, right, but the animation rights to Marvel. But Marvel cannot use any of the original story, so they have to make their own animations, like
I see,
Spider-Verse. Okay. So now Marvel owns animation, which is why Spider-Man is in Marvel Rivals, because it's an animation, while Sony owns the movies.
Right,
but Spider-Man has not been overly profitable in terms of movies, so they are trying to sell this as well. So that Marvel can actually own all of it.
That's pretty cool. Look at you. I love fucking Sleazy. You are the fucking, in my mind, Sleazy, you are the master of whispers. All right. So, no, he really is. We have a channel called Brain Dump, and it's my favorite fucking channel in the Discord. And it's because I'm a hunter. Like, I'm in the trenches for real. People be like, bro, you're a CEO. Like, why are you answering tickets and in the trenches? You got a bunch of people. I'm like, fuck that. Like, I love that shit. Like, I feel like where leaders go wrong is they lose touch with reality.
Exactly.
And it's like, I want to be down there with the fucking people. Like, who the fuck lead? If you're not leading from the front, I'm not following you. Like, I need to know that you're in danger like me, motherfucker. Like, you need to be in the trenches. You don't need to be in your high tower. I'm important and I can't do a call with you. I give everyone my Calendly link. If there's room to fit a fucking meeting on my Calendly link, then go for it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think I even set my times to be 24/7. So if it's like 3 a.m, I'll wake up if it's better for the time.
Exactly.
There was this interesting moment in Justice League where they're like floating on top of the city and they're like discussing what they should do with the city about the crime scene, and the Batman goes like, I suggest you go and actually go spend time on the streets rather than spending time here.
This is huge. Everything. Check this out. Wow, I didn't even know some of these. So Sony Interactive Entertainment franchises. So this is what we can look forward to if so. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say nothing.
God of War.
Because I just got a really good fucking idea.
God of War.
Oh, man. Ratchet and Clank. Oh my God, this is bringing back such childhood memories.
God of War is Sony? I didn't know that.
I have a huge fucking, it is. That's why, never mind, I can't say it out loud. Sleazy, there's a reason why the NFT collection has the one thing that it has. I'll tell you later. We didn't launch our flagship PFP collection yet, but what CryptoPunks was to Ethereum, we're looking, Posse Pioneers, this Avatar collection is going to be huge, guys. We're partnering with some pretty big fucking names. that everyone's going to recognize, and this is going to be the crypto punks of Sony for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt. We're going big on this collection.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're not launching it yet because once again, this is not the market, but it's soon. That's why we didn't launch our token. That's why we didn't do anything yet. Anyway, this is what you have to look forward to, guys. What Sony has the capability of doing, and it just gave me an idea, so I'm pretty fucking excited. All right, Escape. Okay, ArcLad, Astrobot. Obviously, Astro Boy was big. I know that. Let's see, God of War franchise, Gran Turismo.
Yeah, that's a lot for the old heads.
Holy shit, SOCOM. Okay, I know that. Let's see. This is surprising. There's a couple I saw down there. Hold on. Warhawk, Wipeout. All right, Ratchet and Clank, obviously. Fucking. This is interesting. Adidas Power Soccer. Very interesting. Wait, well, how the fuck do they own that? Oh, that's a throwback brand. All right, Ape Escape,
They're like very
ArcLad.
old.
Yeah, it has to be. But you know what? Revival movements are big, man. That's how you get boomers in fucking crypto. You know what I mean? You get those old school fucking brands.
Actually, NBA in itself and all the sports games too, if they're owning.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Hold on. Oh yeah. What? They own the fucking NBA game series, bro. I can bro.
Okay, that actually it's pretty insane.
That's
I mean, you definitely remember back when they were selling the NBA cards.
Yeah,
like before NFTs and stuff, right? So
let's see. No Heroes Allowed, Gateway Ghosted.
Let's get those cards on Soneium.
This was a good game. I remember this. Let's see. Gravity Rush. What the fuck is Gravity Rush? I haven't seen that one.
I think Gravity Rush was supposed to be like Jet Set Radio Future. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but for PlayStation.
All right. Let's see. What else we got? Holy shit, man! There's a lot of cool ass fucking IPs. Who owns the most IPs in the world? Let's look at this up real quick. All right.
I'm going to take a guess and say it's Disney.
Yeah, that's what I would say. What company owns the most? Let me really think about that. One of my favorite thing to do is go to Comic Cons too. Let me see. Who do I think before I look this in? IPs. Owns the most IP brands in the world.
I don't think ones would be DC, I guess.
I'm going to say, well, yeah, Marvel and DC obviously would be a contender. Anything with comic books, but you have to think bigger than that because there's always secret holding companies. A lot of people don't realize in business, a majority of all these companies are owned by a parent company. It happens all the time.
It could be like Samsung for all we know.
Yeah, it could be some weird. Here's the fun fact for people. I'll blow your fucking mind. So BMW owns Bugatti. I mean, Volkswagen owns Bugatti.
Yeah.
Volkswagen owns. Look at this shit. Look at this. This blows my mind every time I see it. What companies does Volkswagen own? I always forget them because there's so many. Look at this, guys. This is fucking crazy. Audi, Porsche, Bentley, Lamborghini, Bugatti, Skoda, Ducati. Like, get the fuck out of here.
And a little fun fact is a Lamborghini Urus is basically an Audi Q7 or Q8. I can't remember. I think it's a Q7.
Let me find out, bro. I'm a massive car guy. Like, don't get me. This will turn into a subject. Like, this will. Be
I know, right? I've driven every car, by the way.
Web3. This, yeah, man. I'm a massive. So I have M3. That's for another time. So I have two. I had a 135i back in the day, like M54, and I still kept it. I have had a bunch of M3s. I've had an E46, E36, E92. E92 was my favorite because it was the only V8. It was naturally aspirated. And that's I still hold that. I'll never let go of it. I blew one of the cylinders, like racing. You go to Tracks Racing. I used to go by me a place called Englishtown, but they closed their straightaway. So I go to a place called Acco, places in Pennsylvania.
Like anyway, actual racetracks?
Yeah. I'm a track. I love tracks. Yeah. That's one of my things. I love tracking cars. I used to love to do, quarter miles and stuff like that, but the E92 M3 was more like it wasn't a quarter mile car. Like, people can do it. Like, they would put something called like Chintani kits on them and put supercharge and power, twin turbo them and shit. But the blocks, the way that they made them were so thin, the walls, that a lot of times they would crack. Anyway, off subject. My whole point is that it's crazy.
Bentley?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy because that's a British company, I was pretty sure. And unless they bought it, it is. Bentley Motors Limited is a British designer and manufacturer, and now it's owned. And when you look at, I'm not going to say it because it's very, fuck it, I'm a controversial person. What's crazy is that how Volkswagen's history, Like,
Yeah, I know.
Volkswagen
Yeah,
is very much involved in like the Nazi party, and like Hitler fucking basically was
yeah.
hugely
It
involved.
dates back from the 40s is when they really blew up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nutty, man. That's fucking nutty. But lo and behold, man, look what determination does, man. There's no way. What the fuck is their valuation? Holy, I gotta know this. That's wild. Hold on. How much is
What's funny about them owning all these brands is kind of what you said earlier, right? They're still
50? No way. Only 51, I guess, because luxury cars like Bugatti, there's not that many buyers. Lamborghinis, there's not as many buyers as people think. That's fucking crazy. I thought their valuation, especially in an era where we have like funny number valuations.
You'd assume like 10x that.
Yeah, like there's 10x that. There's fucking, Apple's worth is the most expensive company in the world at like 4 trillion, 5
Exactly.
trillion
Yeah, that's
dollars.
what I mean. Yeah, no.
It's fucking crazy. All right. Back to our main question. So
Who owns the most IP brands?
all right, I'm gonna take, man, I don't even want to guess this because I'm not gonna be
I'm
right.
gonna guess Disney because I swear.
Disney, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Samsung, wait, in terms of number of no, it's patents. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Who owns the most
I
intellectual?
mean, by what metric? Valuation or?
Yeah, see, this is awarded 600. No, that's by patents. So, which company owns the most brands? How about now? See, how about this? We'll just type in companies. Most of the world countries are independent. However, some companies own a large number of brands, businesses like Unilever. I know who that is. Obviously, PepsiCo,
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch. Really? I told you guys, like, yo, there's OGs, bro. Like, here's something that blew my mind. I found beer companies that own tech stock, like that own like fucking Samsungs and like phone like the weirdest shit goes on behind the scenes of business that people don't get. Like there's even people that do whole conspiracy theory videos on fucking TikTok about this, where like who owns what, and they're probably not fucking wrong. That's the crazy part, because like when you look at companies like Stella, it still blows my mind. Like people don't understand how long 200 years like America's really young, like 360, 400 years old, right? Yes, people have been coming here, the Spanish, since like whatever, fucking 1690, 1700. But like, in fact, I think Harvard or Princeton was founded before long before the country was even founded in 1776. But the crazy part about it is that Stella, the actual company, was in like 16. Stella beer founding. It was, hold on, that's
what?
even earlier, 1366. Guys, I don't know if anyone can fucking comprehend. Like in terms of human civilization, we've only been modernly civilized, right? For like less than 100 years. Like modernly civilized. Like when we talk about modern civilization, tech and all, like not even just that, even just the fucking automobile, even just let's start with the Industrial Revolution. So even if we say World War I, 1917, that whole era right there. Like even then, bro, 1366 to still be a company is fucking nutty. You know how many? Here's a fun fact for you. Almost a large majority of well-known companies today have been founded within the last 50 years. And I want to be very clear about that. That shows you that humans are your life, not in a bad way. Like to me, that's an enjoyable thing. But your life is nothing but a speck of sand on a beach. Like you have to understand, like, for us, we're looking at how fucking big Toys R Us was. Meanwhile, Stella has been a company since 1366. And I bet you somebody that was in 1400s was like, yeah, Stella was a great fucking beer. And like the medieval times, you're in your fucking tavern, like, character, and you're like, this is great beer. Here we are almost 1,000 fucking years later, still drinking Stella. Like, look at Gibson, the guitar company, or any one of these companies. They've been around, people don't realize, from fucking 17. Crazy, man. There's
Actually,
big difference.
I think this goes to show, even with regards to even like you said, Gibson or these companies that have been around, they know what people like and they stick to it. And it comes down to the same thing. And it comes down to actually what Volkswagen, and we're going to even date back to Web3, to us as founders.
So here's
you put yourself in people's shoes. So that's why Volkswagen, even if they own Bentley and all these other things, they're like, well, we're still going to make affordable cars and have our own car brand.
So here's what it boils down to, though. Here's what I want your thoughts on, particularly, Gum.
Yep.
So sustainability does it matter? What should you go for when you're building a company? I think it's pretty clear who the winner is. But sustainability or brand hypeness and brand awareness, because here's the crazy thing. When I look at these companies, you could say, oh, they're not Apple. Yeah, but guess what? Will Apple last another 1,000 fucking years,
Yeah.
bro?
It's stability. Stability is those are the things.
It's
Like stability is what builds confidence, and not only that, that's stability is better marketing in my eyes than just not random exposure, but you know what I mean, just consistent exposure in your face. Sometimes people don't want to see the same thing over and over again. People want real data, and they
yeah,
want the real
yeah, yeah.
numbers, right? When it really comes down to that, like I'll always say this too, like when it comes down to stuff like we want to break this down to layman's terms so people can understand, but we also want, and I always say like the big brains to be like, wow, this is actually really smart. This is the way to do it. Like whether it be tokenomics, whether it be how something's run, a UI, you know, what I mean, how farms work in that sense, pools, just with regards to us, right? But any protocol, a game, if you can break it down to layman's terms where they're like, yeah, this is good, and then even people who are really smart can break everything down, but like, yeah, this is really smart. I mean, they're building on top of something. Then
I
that's
agree.
that win-win thing, and that's where the stability comes in my
So,
eyes.
and people don't realize there's a lot of companies that are making money that are not super famous and well known. Like you know, you have to decide what it is you want to do. Like I always tell people all the time, I don't care about being the biggest company in the world. I care about being a sustainable company and a sustainable community that is building memories with the people that we're building for and with. So like as we're building with all these people, we have guys in our Discord, like we have 10,000 people in our Discord, and there's guys that have been there with us for years, right? We've been building since like 20, it was conceived 21 under, you know, a whole different identity. And 22 is officially like when it started going hard. And the fact of the matter is like people don't get, like there's OGs, there's people that have been here forever, and those are the people you're building for. You know, you have to build your little niche, your little community, focus on becoming sustainable. Like, you know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, focus on being sustainable. And that doesn't mean that you need to be in the news and you need to be like, those are people that can do that. But guess what? Being a company that makes 100 million, you know, there's so many companies, it's ridiculous, that make over $1 million, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure revenue that you've never heard of. And I see them every day when I drive down the fucking street. I see like over by me, there's also there's a lot of business, like, so a lot of major companies. So for those that don't know, out here in New Jersey is becoming the new Hollywood. It's becoming the new California, basically, not in a bad way, without all the bullshit politics. The reason why is because the governor, they passed a big bill, which was basically tax breaks for movie studios. So fun fact. So an overwhelming majority of movies and things being shot were actually been in Jersey over the last few years, right outside New York. And it's funny because like they say, because of how diverse our landscape is. Like we have the mountains, we have the beach, we have the woods, we have the city, we have everything. So a lot of movies, it's hard to find terrain like out here, and it's very small. Jersey is like, you know, it has the most population per square capita. So a bunch of people condensed in a smaller state. And what's interesting about it is that now that we're seeing all these movies, now that we're seeing all these things being made over here, there's a lot more people talking about it. But there's a bunch of companies that I've never heard of. Like, you know, they own a lot of office buildings. They get a lot of office buildings. And I see companies like NRG and all these others that, you know, have been around for some time, but I just learned about them. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do all these companies do? Like, I'll be driving by and seeing these big office buildings, and like, who the fuck owns that big ass building? And where did you get the money to do it? Like, what are you doing? I found a company. This is a look in this rabbit hole. I'll give you a rabbit hole if you want to go down one. For all those that like conspiracy and rabbit holes, look into glitter. Yes, I said it. Look into glitter. Who makes it's almost such a secret patent. Like there's a whole special done on it where a guy, they wouldn't let him in the factory. They wouldn't let it. They secretly protect the glitter industry. Is almost like a fucking secret society, Illuminati shit. Like it's monopolized by like two companies. They won't say who their partners are. They won't say who they make glitter for. Glitter. Yes, I said it. Like glitter, like the shit that you put in, like, you know, fucking arts and crafts on cars and paint. Like It is such a rabbit hole. They work with the government. Apparently, there's this secret thing they do with the government. Like, it's crazy. It goes deep. And it's not just some tin hat shit. Like, it's real. So like there's a patent on like, these two major companies basically monopolize glitter, and they make so much fucking money off of glitter, just literally making glitter, and nobody knows the actual formula for it and what it is. It's like polyurethane or some shit. But like, it's crazy, man. Like, and when I see things like that, like I always think it's fascinating, and it's good. It hits the reset button for you. It gets you outside of your box. You sometimes, like I tell you guys, you got to get outside your fishbowl. Yeah, but anyway, that's what I have.
I got a couple more characters.
Yeah, go, please, by all means. Let me turn this off. Hold up, adjust the. There you go.
Yes. Okay. So next one, he says, "I see you've had a fun discussion with our anime fan from here, and there are probably a lot of drunken things that you've heard from this guy. The next one would be this particular lady over here. She puts a lot of effort into her presentation, and she is quite convinced that whatever she is looking at in her magic box is going to make her rich. Good to her, I guess." And then you approach her, and then she goes, "Yeah, I've heard about the Cointelegraph article. Animoca Brands partnered with Soneium, the Sony's blockchain, to integrate Animoca Network's identity layer. They are launching Anima ID to bring anime fans into Web3, starting with the San Frantokias projects. I know, but I heard there's a very big problem over there. It might be that would be my alcohol speaking, but I heard they are quite struggling with how that's going to happen. Sony's blockchain might just crash under all those anime fans logging in drunk, like half the bar here. And someone I even heard said they are making moves. Maybe Animoca, there's quote-unquote making moves. Maybe Animoca is secretly buying out Sony to dominate the anime blockchain market. This could be huge, would you not agree with me?
No, well, that's definitely a fucking lie. So we'll say the Cointelegraph thing. Go ahead, tell me about it.
Yeah, that's not necessarily wrong, but it's just speculation.
No. Animoca will not. No. Animoca, they're not. Listen, great company, but they're not buying out. So I can promise you that.
We need Disney and Crunchyroll to deploy on here.
Yeah, fucking facts.
And that will confirm all the anime speculation.
Yeah. I was just saying once that comes on here, Crunchyroll for sure. I gotta catch up on some Boruto, bro. I'm actually behind. All right.
And
anyway,
I read on a specific blog that Animoca is just stealing anime fans' data to sell to crypto whales, even sometimes with no blockchain involved. Can you imagine that?
Listen, I gotta be careful. Like I'm you guys, the community and you guys have put me in a position where I can't no longer be the Chris that everyone knows and love. So I gotta be responsible and it's really fucking hard because I'm a very opinionated person when it comes to this stuff because I'm a big research guy.
Go ahead.
No,
unless you don't want to, but no.
I don't want to say everything I think, but I can tell you this. Listen, man, these companies, man, they do.
Yeah, it's been a thing honestly for a lot of companies. Like you don't realize when you sign up, like you're basically signing up, and then they can sell your data afterwards. It's a common thing honestly for like Facebook does it, for example, and that was a whole like thing they got. But I think one thing too, and we've all seen, for example, the Mark Zuckerberg court thing. He's probably more surprised the fact that 90% of companies do it, and I'm the one being targeted. It's probably what's going on in the industry.
Not only that, it people are doing it to themselves. That's why South Park made the whole funny episode about like terms and services.
Exactly.
It's like, yo, bro, you don't know what the fuck you're clicking on, bro.
Exactly. And then the worst part is like you put in your email and phone number, and you're wondering why you're getting scam calls and stuff.
Bro, I literally not too long ago changed my fucking number because of how bad it was. Like it was literally fucking bad. And I spoke with the phone company and I didn't put my number in anything. And I swear, like I never do. I have two phones, a business line and another, and I use a dummy line, a third line just for like anything that I have to enter my phone information in because I don't even trust secure. Like even like the only one that gets my information is like my fucking doctor. And like, I don't even, even my bank, like they have my number. I think they do, but they might have my business number. But the reality is like, you got to be careful, man, what you do with your data. You really do. And this is where people like, once we don't want to call it blockchain, we should get away from that. I'm like, with our company, like we're focusing on that now. I tell everyone, no more blockchain, no more crypto, no more nothing. Digital asset, buy, sell, it's digitized. And that's what I want people. I want to equate it with something people are already familiar with. And that is at least what I see for the future and the vision. But it is going to be interesting what people are doing with their data, because you could still own your IP, and even though you're owning your own IP, people could still fucking like, you can still get backdoored, guys. Wake up call. You might own your IP and your identity and your crypto and your keys and all that shit, but you're working. There's a lot of centralization that goes on. You know what I mean? Like, you are not the gatekeeper, my man. Yeah, you have the freedom to move your money elsewhere. But what happens where are you going to move it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to move it to where? At the end of the day, that's why I always say I'm a Bitcoin guy too. But the only thing that's truly decentralized is Bitcoin.
Monero.
Yeah, this fucking guy. I love it.
I haven't heard that name in a
it.
long time.
Listen,
I hold a lot
love
of
it.
I hold a lot of Monero, more Monero than Bitcoin actually.
I love it. I love this dude. Listen, institutions.
It's one of the most stable coins ever, honestly.
Listen,
The one
I'll
that's
put it
not
to you this
stable.
way.
Pretty
When
much.
BlackRock, even BlackRock, and I tell people this all the time, when BlackRock can't even fucking buy something out, like that's when I know it's like they tried. A lot of these big institutions are trying. That's all these dumps, all these fucking tanks, bro. These are like, guys, wake up call. This is all by design. Like, don't get me wrong, the economy plays a large part in it. Speculation plays a large part in it for sure. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's also a lot of money markets, money movers that will fucking, get everybody. They're basically trying to get all the Jeets, man. They want everyone to sell so
Exactly.
they can buy in low, because getting 51% of that network, they know they can never do it by themselves. But as a holding company, if they're able to invest in 10,000 companies and have their say in as many companies as possible, that's why Animoca has a say in 500 brands. Think about that. You know what I mean? That's crazy. And same thing as BlackRock. I mean, they have a say in God knows how many fucking companies. And especially they strategically work with companies that, works in their best interest. So you have to be mindful of all these things. These aren't conspiracies. This is just common sense. People will fucking try to get you to dump your money so they can buy back in. And listen, those that win in this industry are going to be those that didn't do anything special, that weren't magic money traders, that weren't fucking, in the trenches. It's going to be holders, bro. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, everything is simple: supply and demand, economics 101, buy low, sell high. That is it. There is nothing more. If you are a noob to this industry, you only need to know one thing and one thing only: buy low, sell high. That is it. That's your crypto journey. You're welcome. You don't have to pay me for that. Nothing. Find something at a low value that is undervalued, whether it be an NFT, whether it be a currency. If it is undervalued and you can see that there's a community there, you can see that there's something happening there, buy low and then literally sell high. Not financial advice, but you know what? It's the fucking playbook, man.
I always say, because when people ask me these things, I just say allocate responsibly. And the thing is, you'll never buy the bottom of something and then sell the top. So I mean, we're all in this for one thing only. I mean, traders especially, right? So when they ask those questions, if someone asks you that question, I feel like you ask me that question feels like you should de-risk yourself. If people are like, is this the top or price, things of those nature, I don't have a crystal ball in that sense.
It's too fucking narrow, guys. That's the scope of that is too small. Like, you're focusing on something that just is too small,
and
like
too short term that I can't see. I mean, it's
way too short term. That's what I mean. Way too short term. The reality is this market moves. It has a life of its own. If it was possible to crack the code, wake up call. People with billions of dollars would have been done it. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, if AI really can out trade anyone, and there would be people, there would be quadrillion years right now. And the reality is there's not. Like, that's what I love about capitalism. People can bash it all they want, but it's a balancing mechanism. Just when somebody thinks that, you know, they're going to take control of everything, there's always a competitor that comes along and like fucking shits on them. And that's what happens. The big guy hates that. People say the big guy shit on the little guy. Yeah, you know, sometimes they do, but the beautiful magic, you know, that I love is that some of the best companies, you know, that capture the most attention and mind share end up being nobodies from out of nowhere. And the companies, they're like, holy shit, where did this guy come from? And you know what their weapon of choice is? Fucking acquisition. As soon as they know somebody is becoming big, one of my favorite stories ever is like how, you know, Facebook tried to buy out Snapchat. Like they bought Instagram. And like, you know, and listen, maybe it was a wise decision. Maybe Snapchat would have had more money. Maybe they would have been
And
bigger. But you know what?
Not to cut you off. Didn't Instagram buy Vine, and was that
Yes.
a part of Facebook? Facebook
Yeah.
on Instagram. Okay, yeah.
And here's the crazy thing that I love. And goddamn, I'm not a Snapchat as much user anymore. I've been on Snapchat forever, bro. I don't even check that shit. Now I just think it's for people trying to like cheat on their girls and boyfriends.
Yeah, it's a garbage app.
It's a, but no offense to Snapchat guys. Like you guys are fucking awesome. The app, the tech is great. It's just you got to change your brand identity. You got to get away from that motif that like, you know, you're synonymous with that, but there's a word for that. It's eluding me right now. But my whole point is that, you know, goddamn, do I respect them as a company, because they got offered so much money and they still said no. We love our company. We know what we have. Like, God, you got to appreciate a company like that. And it's still going to this day. Like people say that to us all the time, man. We had a couple opportunities to sell ass and just be like, you know, hey, we'll take the VC. Like, don't get me wrong, VC funding is great, like doing things with VC, but you know, we bootstrap a lot.
Like, you know,
of them.
there's Litecoin is still a thing. Like it's just a fork of Bitcoin with a better mechanism, but it's a pretty big community. Like they're still going strong. Funny.
Yeah, listen, bro. There's still Ethereum Classic is still a fucking thing, bro. There's still people trade.
Wow.
Yeah, like people don't understand even before the fork. Like the reality is there's a community behind everything, and you know, like even us, like we're not like, yeah, sure, we were in the middle of our seed round and stuff. The valuation because of this market is just nutty for any company. So if we're not going to get what we're worth and what we know we're worth, then we're not going to sell our soul and just be like, hey, we'll take your money, and then undervalue ourselves and then now have to answer to people instead of answering to the only people a company should answer to, and that's their fucking community. My only people that I answer to in my life, you know, besides my wife, is she's
the first one.
It's the first one. Is, you know, God and fucking, to be honest with you, the community. And that's why you see on my profile, people always say, like, why does your profile say chief public servant? And that's because that's what I am. You know, I am not CEO. Yeah, it's a licensed company, but I'm the chief public servant. I'm a public servant. And that's how I always will see it. Anyway, go ahead, Sleazy. I got another meeting coming in. So let's jump these last few.
Yeah, here goes. And there's a speculation that Soneium is going to have its hand in Elon Musk's pocket. And you know why? Because he's going to send a rocket to the moon, and it's going to be the Sailor Moon rocket.
Okay. That's definitely not fucking Sailor Moon rocket.
Don't
get me wrong.
Yep, it's going to the moon. It's Sailor Moon.
I'll say what everybody doesn't want to say. Listen, man, when we were all younger, you can't say that you didn't think like the Sailor Moon. Like those chicks were hot, bro. Like that's just what it was.
It was made for us as kids.
Come on, no, like, it was like, come on, man. There was no way. No, it's definitely not a rocket with Sailor Moon. I'd be surprised.
Yep.
Though. I hope I'm wrong though.
No, it's definitely false. Yeah, and she goes, I hope you had a good conversation with our lovely lady. She tends to be a little overdramatic with the alcohol over the whole night of trading. I hear for some reason over the night she has better luck with the trading or something to that extent. And there's one more guy. He is quite in love with painting and stuff like that. And he goes, I read on some news that Animoca and Soneium are using Mocha's network Air SDK for Anime ID, a decentralized something for anime fans. And San Fran Tokyo is behind it.
San Fran Tokyo, that's true, because I read something about that, I think.
Yeah, so he's saying they use an air SDK for. It's not really interesting though.
You're fucking savage. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then he goes, I heard from a friend that Anime ID is actually a secret government project to track anime fans' every move. And Sony's behind it.
No, listen, man. Everyone's always gonna hate on the big company. What you need to do is find your opportunity zone. Like look within that. You know what I mean? If I can leverage something that somebody else has already done and they can leverage what I'm doing, of course, man. Like that's great for a talking point and to get into that. But the reality is, don't get me wrong, it's worth talking about. Like I do believe that there's truth to every FUD. And I'm kind of the guy where people will say, oh, you don't want to spread FUD. You shouldn't. But you also shouldn't avoid conversations that are difficult, because when you do that, you start to get into what just fucking happened to the world over the last 5 years with this identity politics bullshit and all this other crazy shit. Like you can't be completely closed off the conversation. If you're closed off the conversation, you don't grow. So yes, sometimes you have to be a big boy and a big girl, put your pants on and have tough conversations. And those are the things that I'm an advocate for. So yeah, if there's something there to talk about, your weird ass conspiracy of the government and fucking Sony taking over our minds, sure, I'll indulge. But you got like 15 minutes to give me a really strong fucking thesis, because if that premise isn't strong, man, your opening statement doesn't hit home, I'm fucking hanging up on you.
Yeah, and then he goes, and if all of the news that I've been hearing is true, every anime fan on Earth will abandon traditional shows for Web3. Think Studio Ghibli, Toei, they're all doomed, replaced by blockchain battles.
Holy shit, man. Is it me, or is anyone else sick and tired of hearing like it's crazy that I work here full time and I'm tired of hearing crypto, Web3, blockchain.
Yeah.
Like I hear that word so no, it's okay. I hear it so much that it's like God, no. Now I know how the gamer because I'm also in all my gaming clans still. So like I'm still in like Discords where it's like 100,000 actual people that are really gaming, like that are like, I've been in chats where like you can't even talk because there's like 300-400 people inside of a VC, and everyone's trying to be like, yo, did you see him? Duck, this guy's here. And I'm like, fucking hey, I've been in Battlefield and like I play Rust a lot. So I'm in like a Rust fucking Discords and shit.
Yeah. Gonna skip the rest, and he's going, I hope you had a good conversation with our friends at the bar. You can probably see why they are, well, the good people to talk about such news that may or may not be true. Mostly what they're spatting is not quite true, but that's been quite entertainment to watch over some interesting individuals, wouldn't you say?
Listen, I think it was pretty fucking okay. I think it was pretty cool. I do want to say this. First off, Sleazy, a couple of different things. You are awesome. You're absolutely whoa. What happened to Coin Go? What happened to Gum?
Wait.
There he
I'm
is.
still here.
Okay, yeah. All right. First off, that was awesome. As always, yo, bro, you're out of your mind, and I love it. Like honestly, I love it. What you've been doing with the marketing stuff, what you've been doing with everything, you've been absolutely crushing it. I love the eccentric, like it's just cool as shit. And you own that shit, man. So it's dope.
I have a remark.
Go.
I have a remark for Sleazy.
Yeah.
I have a remark for Sleazy. Like,
Go for it.
now I heard what Soneium means when they say entertainment layer. Yeah.
Yeah, I listen. People don't get this, and like people, listen, man. I'm very particular about who we work with, right? Everyone knows that about us. Like, it's something I think we're better. It's just that like it takes 10 years to build a brand and 10 seconds to ruin it. And I say this all the time. You need to be particular about who you work with. Like from the outside looking in, some people be like, oh, this shit might be corny or it might be small. But here's the thing. That's what people don't understand. There's a lot of people that look at anime like it's dumb. There's a lot of people that look at business stuff like it's dumb. Like there's something for everybody. And anyone that's able to truly be themselves, those are the people that make the world go round. The people that, what's the saying, those that dare to dream actually accomplish, they end up accomplishing things. And, Naval says it. I forgot what he said. But like those that dare actually do. And the truth of the matter is like, you lose 100% of the battles that you don't fight. And at the end of the day, like when you're committing to something and you're building and you're having fun, it's like, people want to be a part of that. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe the next show when we talk about something else you'll be involved in, and maybe that'll be your thing. But the fact that Sona shows up, the fact that Nemo showed up, the fact that all these, brands show up, a lot of people, that's what matters. People are going to recognize that over time. They're going to see that, like, it does matter, guys. I say this all the time. People say whether you get 100 viewers. We've had shows where we get 1,200 viewers at a time, like live tuned in. We've had shows where we get just 100. And it's just the way the game works. The algorithm is a motherfucker. Like, we don't own the algorithm. It's really sometimes like you can make quality content and be blown away. I've been working in marketing for years, and I've made some quality content with KOLs for them, like filming things, editing, where we were like, this is amazing. This is going to go viral. And then literally it doesn't, because the algorithm is just not focused on that. So like there's a lot more at play than people realize. But the fact, what does matter is that you show up, and that everybody is showing up every day, that everybody is continuing to push forward. That is what I'm happy about. That is what I'm impressed with. And that's really what matters at the end of the day.
And yeah, if you want to push your community to play some D&D games with me, like today, but it's going to be like a lot longer than today, because I just like made a very short one to just talk about some news. So yeah,
Sleazy does the long ones.
Yeah, we can. Well, I think like one that's like 1 hour long is like too much. It's exhausting. So I'm gonna stick to like 45 minutes game, like
That's good.
one from yesterday.
I try. I just have the attention span of a chipmunk. So like that, like ADHD is a weakness, but it's also my superpower. So I'm able to hone in, me, I'm able to hone in on things and laser focus on them until they're done. And then there's other things where, like, if it's entertainment, I love these conversations because it gives us the opportunity to kind of just let everything out. And that's like the fun part about it. Everything you've researched, everything you've talked about, everything you're interested in. Well, that being said,
yeah, it's not, entertainment is also, I won't say, is kind of like dad jokes. Dad jokes don't necessarily have to always be funny. In fact, I think it has more value when it's more cringe than when it's funny.
I agree.
So, yeah, a lot of the times in entertainment, you just gotta go with this and just experiment and see how it turns out. And even if it's bad, sometimes being bad is not actually "quote unquote" bad.
It's not bad.
People keep watching.
They do.
You learn from experiences, right?
Yeah. You do 100%. And like I said, they're going to keep trying new things. I think the AI thing is evolving. Quick update. I want to, I'll let you guys close out. What's going on with you, Nemo? What can everybody expect from you, Guin, moving forward? What should they be checking out? Give us a little bit of an update and tell everyone where they can figure out and find everything they need to know.
Yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, phase one of our different strategies and program and partnerships went out, and we got pretty nice TVL and users onboarded on us. But like yes, people should check out definitely about the phase two, and that will be a vault integration. That will be a stress-free deposit for the users without hustling for DeFi projects to look into. So yeah, basically we are launching a phase two very soon with the vault strategies. Currently we are in the development phase. So that will be a right move for the users, for the community to look around. And yeah, again, the same like for the ACS, APRs is and the Ether points, King points, we are up. Look around us, stake Easter and ETH, get the LST and sister, get the LRT and our ETH on ETH, and get some extra yields points and other things from our DeFi protocols. But yes, uh, like vault strategy is coming soon, so keep an eye on that. Yeah.
Thank you. Listen, man, I love what you guys are doing. I really appreciate you showing up. You might be a man of few words, but when you do speak, like you do, say some awesome stuff, and I'm always really grateful for it. So I'm really grateful that you guys continue to show up. I'm grateful, for you coming on and continuing to be awesome. So really appreciate it, Coingo, and you're the man. Come, man, tell us what's going on. Same to you, man. What's going on with Sonos? Well, why should people check him out? Like, give us
Absolutely.
the rundown.
Yeah, so for Sonos, obviously we've seen like an increase in TVL and obviously our native token price, but that's just the beginning for us. Where we at right now, we're at a position where we can just leverage it to be a lot significantly more. So we're in talks with people like A Stake who are wanted to play on here. There's a few other people, actually, don't mind saying this. I'm reaching out to Arcus as well because they have a cool game on Soneium, so we'd love to sit there and support them. But with regards to integrations, there's people like Unentitled Bank, Super Volume as well, that we could actually also
Unentitled.
say it again. Sorry.
You said unentitled bank.
Oh, sorry. I'm an Untitled Bank. Sorry. Sorry.
That's a good name. I'm gonna throw it at them at some time.
All right. Sorry, guys. That's yeah. And then Nemo, of course. We have Nemo's pools on our V3 pools, so just expect more partnerships with regards to that. We're obviously sticking to blue chips, and then yeah, we're just trying to leverage Soneium's ecosystem the most we can. And of course, we have competitors like, I guess, Velo and Kaio, but it's like what someone said earlier. We see competitors more as like inspiration and more of a reason to just innovate more and work harder and find a position for ourselves for Sonus.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, listen, man, I appreciate you guys. Gum, you're always the man. Like, you know, you show up, you always give great feedback. That's my favorite
Appreciate it.
part. Yeah, listen, you have no idea. I love to support people. There's so many amazing people in this industry. I met my best friends and so many great people that I've known through the years in this industry. There's good, there's bad, but you know, overall, I've had a really enjoyable experience. It's been addictive at times. I've lost myself in rabbit holes. I've lost some money. I've gained some money. It's been a nutty ride, but man, I wouldn't fucking take it back. I wouldn't change a thing. You know, every single experience is just been incredible and just molded life to be what it is today. So thank you so much. I'm really rooting for you guys. You know, at the end of the day, I want everyone to be sustainable. I don't really care much about being famous and having big, you know, the next big Sony, the next big everything, but I do care about everyone building something sustainable for themselves. And anybody that's putting their heart and soul into something, that's the person I want to see succeed, because I know how many failures comes with this, like the endless hours of grinding away, the toll it takes on your body, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally, your spiritually, your family. Like it's a fucking grind, man. And you know, to be able to see the look on someone's face, or the satisfaction for me comes when a user or when another project finally gets the W that they've been looking for. And like you could just see how fucking happy they are. And if you really want to get somewhere in life, and if you really want people to want to even be around you, you got to want people to win, man. And you got to really root for them, because it's rare when people care anymore. Like, you know, holding doors for people. Like when you go into a coffee shop or you go anywhere, I feel like every conversation I have with a lot of people is there's always an angle. There's always like someone, like I'm waiting for
Yeah.
someone to sell me something. I'm
Right.
waiting. Like having conversations just for the sake of having a conversation is something we need to get back to. And I'm happy to do that with you guys. So thank you, Sonova, as well, or Sonus as well.
We're in talks with Sonova for V NFTs. But
There
yeah.
you go. So there we go. That fucking helps. Thank you. That was the fix to my stumble. But I will say this, as far as updates, guys, I know you guys are hammering us. The V2 is coming. You know me. I'm not a pitcher. I'm not a salesman. It's big, guys. You know, I've been developing for many, many years. I've had the pleasure of knowing what the industry needs, what it's wanted, what's worked, what hasn't. I've worked with some bigger companies. I've been a part of acquisitions, mergers. Like to me, it starts small. It's the little things that create the biggest impact. Like a pebble, you throw it in a pond and creates the biggest ripples. So we're not looking to take over, you know, OpenSea or Magic Eden or do all that. We're looking to be in the market that we're in. You know, we're an AI enhanced Web3 gaming company, but at the end of the day, that's not what we really are, right? That's what people see us in terms of like Web3 and, you know, when you're talking about all that stuff. But for Posse, it's a much bigger picture. Like we always say, what our profile says, we're empowering creativity and connection through digital entertainment. We are a digital entertainment company that builds software. It just so happens to be that we utilize some blockchain, just like we use cloud tech. Like we're incubated, we work with AWS. You know what I mean? They're one, and that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest Web2 company that we're working with. So, and then we work with Third Web, you know, who's also incubated us. So like at the end of the day, we're gonna take our time. You know, V2 is coming soon. When I say soon, I mean within probably a week, days. At least that's, you know, last conversation from our last meeting with the tech team. Our CTO, Nick St. Germain, is amazing. Obviously, for those that have been following his journey, he was a former senior over at EA Games. He's crushing it over there. You know, he's really making sure the marketplace is what it needs to be. It's because we actually had such a surplus in volume that it broke this. It literally, quite literally, it was the alpha stage when we launched it. It's only been 2 months, and this was just a beta. And you guys broke the fucking site, and I love that. Like that is what makes me excited. Like you literally, like it can't even fucking load sometimes because of how much volume people are trying to process a transaction. So the reality is V2 has solved that. We've scaled it tremendously. The user experience is very web 2. Think very, different than if you're on Facebook Marketplace, if you're on Amazon's Marketplace, add to cart, like very fucking straightforward and beautiful. That's what I'm excited about. I think it's going to be the most beautiful design of any marketplace. I've looked at Joe Pegs, everything that used to be on Avalanche to Sui to every marketplace, Tradeports. I've seen them all. And I think we've honestly put together what is going to be, to us at least, the most comprehensive and beautiful experience as far as a market is concerned, because you'll be able to buy, sell, and trade not only NFTs but all digital assets. We're not even calling them NFTs anymore. Digital assets, tokens, you name it. Pretty excited about that. I think the launch of the mobile game is going to be pretty exciting. We're really excited for the launch of the open world game, still taking our time, as I showed everybody on our sessions when we go live for coding and we show you guys the development process. The open world is what I'm excited for. Like, yeah, the market I love, and I love, talking about the token coming soon, the NFT collection. But the two things I'm really excited for are Yeehaw and obviously the open world game. Open world game just because it's huge. It's 50 kilometers, guys. It's a fucking massive 30-mile fucking map. It's bigger than, it's as big as like Red Dead Redemption's first map, GTA. Being able to run around and do cool shit in a world is really exciting for me. It's taking a while, but all good things come with time. And then Yeehaw. Yeah, the AI arm of the company, just like how Unreal, Epic Games has Unreal Engine. Our engine is an AI engine, and it's for building 3D assets and also for doing AI agents. So for guys like Sleazy, he's going to love this, because what this means is that when you have a game, if you're working with Unreal Engine, and we're going to focus on Unreal Engine integration, where you can literally, type in, let's say, you want to build some type of 3D asset. I need a, what's that fucking thing? A tumbleweed. And you want to create a tumbleweed, you'll be able to do that. AI agents, ones that you can actually incorporate. You want to work with some, Web 2 companies we're reaching out with to basically create that personalized experience to where you're able to say, hey, listen, with this particular agent, it can integrate with your whatever app that you use in Web 2. And that could be something that can help automate processes for you. So we're excited, man. Like, we'll see, all in due time, no rush.
Yeah, I was just gonna say no rush. Just release it
No
once it's
rush.
ready. Yeah.
When it's ready, man. Like when it's ready, we just don't want to fucking overpromise, man, because I can't, like, there's so many variables that you can't take into account. I can tell you this, staying power is what matters,
Exactly.
and that's all that matters to us, is sustainability and staying power. So I love you guys. You're absolutely fucking amazing. Sleazy, the man himself, do you have any closing thoughts, you fucking evil genius?
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing those very little D&D games on every live show as a kind of icebreaker for our discussion. As you can see, it brought quite a bit of interesting thoughts out of this. And other than that, also the bigger ones. So that's probably gonna be for next week, because this week is experimentation with the smaller ones. And yeah, if you wish to participate, throw a message and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, guys, get active, man. Jump into, like, that's the best thing. If you want to, we don't want $1 from you. I don't need nothing from you. We're okay. If you want to get active and you want to show how you can contribute, get into the comments. Like, likes are great, retweets are great. We need those. But getting in the comments and actually commenting, getting involved in the community, asking questions in Discord, bashing us in Discord, saying there's something you don't like all that is more valuable to me than your money. Like, I don't fucking care about that. And that's probably crazy to hear from from a company, executive. But at the end of the day, I care more that we're creating the right environment, and the rest will come. If you create a good experience, people will use it. So I think the product needs to speak for itself. The one thing that you can do is get active, and that's not something that you can buy. You can buy a product. You can even buy a company and make money off of something someone else already built. But what you can't really buy is a community, because at the end of the day, people got to want to be there, and that's what we want to focus on.
That's what it is. People want to be able to, if they're going to invest into you, they want to be able to sleep well at night, and you want to be able to provide that comfortability for them.
I agree, and that's why you should check out Sonus, and check out Nemo, and check out everybody. Us, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. We're media moguls, man. We're gonna keep punching away at media and live shows and content creation, and focus on content creators, empowering content creators, man. That's what we want to do. We want to empower creativity and connection through digital entertainment. That is our mission, why we exist, our sole purpose. It just so happens to be that we use some wacky technology to do it. Love you guys. Until next time, peace.